junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn.
Good afternoon. Welcome in to the Thursday, January 27, 2022 edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. I am Gabe Kuhn. My partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy. Brett, hello.
Hello, Gabe.
Producing the program, filling in for the wonderful Brian Dacus is our resident hard hat and lunch pail guy, Jay Morganharder. Jay, hello.
Wonderful for Brian. Sounds a little overstated.
Glue guy. Yeah. Jay Morganharder, glue guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a real glue guy. First one in, last one to leave. But first off, our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. A lot to get to today. Grizzlies finish off a 2-2 road trip after last night's win versus the Spurs. We'll talk about that in a second, as well as turning our attention to All-Star voting. 6 p.m. on TNT's tip-off show, we hear who will start the All-Star game. Ja Morant was second in fan voting among Western Conference guards, and it really could be a historical night for Ja and the Grizzlies as far as All-Star game is concerned. Tigers are in action versus ECU tonight, trying to make a statement, according to Josh Minot, as they sit at 10-8 and 4-4 in AAC play. In the NFL, ahead of Championship Sunday, we have a lot of coaching movement to discuss, including Packers offense coordinator Nathaniel Hackett to Denver, which calls into question their chances of landing a certain quarterback by the name of Aaron Rodgers, and a certain wide receiver that Aaron Rodgers is pretty close to. Also, Big Ben Roethlisberger officially calls it quits after 18 NFL seasons. As far as guests are concerned, 3:30 we bring on Greg Gaston from the Tiger sideline to talk Tigers. 4 o'clock, Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports and Spot Rec to talk some NBA. 5 o'clock, Todd Lebo joins us like he did last week from WHB 810 Kansas City to talk about the AFC Championship game, the NFL as a whole, and the Chiefs. And then we will get out with Taco Bell Crunch Time at 5:45. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Also, watch us live and message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at our website, sports56whbq.com. Brett, what's happening?
Tonight for Ja Morant, the first of at his Hall of Fame induction ceremony. How many All-Star appearances?
Oh, a lot. And obviously things can happen, so I don't want to look. We got to knock on when we talk about.
Let's
things
hope
like
though.
This. But one of a lot. And watching the game last night too, I was thinking about this.
14-time All-Star, 3-time NBA champion, Ja Morant.
I don't want to be
Hall of Fame ceremony.
14-time.
3-time champion. Oh, by the way.
I want to pose this to both of you guys.
Imagine that. Can you imagine just
Is
one?
Ja visually, watching Ja play the game of basketball, watching him play game to game, is he the most entertaining guy to watch in the NBA right this second?
Sure close to it.
I venture to say yes.
I do too.
Based on height, based on
We're
what
partial.
he does around the rim, based on
Inside, outside,
the dribble
zagging.
moves. Some of the things he did
Passes,
last night.
the rebounds, the segment the part of the game last night where he scored a bucket. He assisted on an alley-oop right in front of the goal to Brandon Clark and then got the rebound on the other end.
And then there was one where he had to swoop across. It was him and DeAnthony Melton as a backcourt pair, by the way, is the funniest thing I've ever seen because they're so active. They're almost too active for their own good. But he swoops across, lays it in, falls down, gets up, tips the pass from the inbound, gets the steal.
Yeah.
It's like,
the way.
What the hell? Like, it's just some of the things he does, it just makes no
We've got that
sense.
much must-watch superstar.
Yep. Grizzlies, though, 24-31 as far as wins are concerned. 2-2 on that road trip. Sort of weathering it without Desmond Bain, without
Great
Dylan
road
Brooks,
trip.
without Tyus Jones, without Kyle Anderson. that's about as good as you could hope for.
At the end of Omicron, great road trip.
And I know, Jay, this might hurt your heart because I know you're a DeJounte Murray fan. And I like DeJounte Murray. He made history last night, by the way. He's had 14 – he has had 14 triple-doubles, which ties the Spurs' all-time record. He's going to pass that really soon. But DeJounte Murray-Ja matchup wasn't much of a matchup. I know he had a triple-double, but DeJounte kind of got smoked last night.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was one of the worst games he's played all year, too, and he still had a triple-double.
No. And
youngest pop team ever.
He provides a whole lot, but 41 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, only 1 turnover.
How about the Spurs fans wanting to whine a little bit and maybe some preferential Ja calls?
You think? I think Grizzlies fans even – I think
we finally got that guy getting those.
I think they can give in to what the Spurs fans are saying. There was absolutely superstar calls at the end of that game. Ja was so aggressive.
Some
and got
of those fouls
to the line.
on Pirtle were not even close. But hey, Spurs fans, now we know how you felt with Tony Parker.
With all those guys, though, Tim Duncan, Manu.
Well, Duncan never fouled in his life.
Yeah, but
Never. Every foul was palms up. What, me?
That was the thing last night.
Split the guy's head open. Yeah, it was a foul.
At the end of that game, though, that was the thing that definitely caught my eye. Him getting the free throw line at will, doing whatever he wanted.
And getting preferential calls.
That's great. That's fantastic. And at 22, already earned that respect.
And Pop saying it reminded him of a young Tony Parker.
Say it ain't so. Superstar calls for a Memphis Grizzly. Superstar calls at the end of a game in winning time
in San Antonio
in a close game for a Memphis Grizzly. That's something wild. And Jaren Jackson Jr. last night, he has 39 blocks in a 10-game span, which is the franchise record for most blocks
if it goes
in a
up,
10-game span.
It.
And he had 6. He had 6 blocks last night. 6. And his fouling this year is down. He's grown a lot as a defensive player this year.
He has. He can cover a wide area, and he's gotten so much bigger, but he hadn't lost any step, maybe improved. I think fundamentally he has improved.
One thing I will say in the Twitter sphere, and in the Twitter sphere we're prisoner of the moment, and we definitely overstate.
That's #GrizzFam.
We overstate, I think, to a certain extent. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been fantastic. He's more controlled. He's up in the top 5 for blocks per game. He's fantastic. I'm not denying that. But Defensive Player of the Year, first team all defense, I think is a tad bit overstated considering what he does as a defensive player. He's a rim protector.
I'm with you, but
that's his
who
forte.
Should be DPOY right now?
I mean, the usual suspects.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis has been in there. Rudy Gobert's been out too long, and I think people would revolt if Rudy Gobert won again.
Gobert could miss tomorrow night in that big Jazz Grizz matchup tomorrow night.
Speaking of the Jazz, them losing last night to the Suns was big because that gives the Grizzlies a 2.5 game lead for the 3 spot. They're creating space for the 3 spot between the Jazz and them.
In the all important loss column, it is 3, isn't it?
In the loss column, I think it's 2. And in the win column, I think it's 3. Win column's 3.
Loss column's all that matters.
Yes. So the Grizzlies are just rolling. And do we ever sit back and
2 teams in the whole league with more wins?
Do we ever sit back and think about John, Jaren, and winning time and how they've been playing in close games? I think they're 16-5.
I just put John in the Hall of Fame in 3 titles. Yeah, I think about it.
They're in.
Sorry, Gabe. I didn't mean to be a wise guy.
No, you're good. You can be a wise guy, Brett.
Ja's 3rd in the league in clutch points.
But, yeah, they're 16-5, the Grizzlies are, in games decided by 5 points or less. And Jaren last night in a tie ball game comes down, steps into a 3, nails it. They go up by 3. Ja, we saw what he did to close that game. They're both 22 years old. In adversity and crunch time, you'd expect guys at that age to sort of fold at times, but they haven't at all this year. They are becoming
the
closers.
And
Ja, of course, leading the way in closing time.
Are we too far ahead of schedule, or do you ever get too far ahead? You just take it as you get ahead, don't you?
You just take you can't think about all that. You take it in stride. You are happy with where they're at. Now, All-Star starters announced tonight. Ja was second in Western Conference in the backcourt behind Stephen Curry in fan vote, and obviously 25% goes to the media, 25% goes to the players. How likely do you think it is we see him as a All-Star starter?
I say very. I say he is.
I think he is. And it's different because the Grizzlies have had one All-Star starter in their history, Marc Gasol. And it's a different thing. And I think this is more historical and more monumental.
Because he'll have his hands on the ball. This is your quarterback starting.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gabe, this isn't a O-lineman starting.
But
and this gives.
I wish O-lineman got as much pub as forwards.
I do too.
Centers
But in the All-Star game,
NBA.
you know the bigs. Even now with the bigs stroking the threes like they do, it's not their game though because it's too fast-paced. Ja has a chance to have his hands on the ball. Therefore, he has a chance to be MVP of said All-Star game.
That's a big difference for me. But the biggest difference, Mark was 30. Mark was 30 at the time he was an All-Star starter.
Great point.
Ja Morant is 22. This is the beginning of his career. He's launching into his prime at this moment. It's a totally different feel.
This is a launching pad. That was kind of validation.
It's a totally different feel. And
totally.
I would imagine, and I think there'll be if he is not one of the starting guards for the Western Conference, I think there'll be a mutiny.
Everything's going to come with this. We've talked about hosting, not only playing on Christmas Day, but hosting. In primo time, we already have our national civil rights great time, but also in 2 years from now, Ja Morant representing the United States of America.
Yes, that's a true thing. We were talking about it last year. We were talking about it last year, and he was I don't know. He had a tweet last year at one point where we thought he was talking about being left off of Team USA with some of the things they had to do with COVID
on that 2024 team.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be an interesting time. But I think the finishing touches were put on the last 4 games for Ja's candidacy as an All-Star starter. 33-8-14, 38-6-6. 35-13-6, 41-5-8 last night.
Yeah,
one turnover.
If this were a presidential campaign,
he stamped it.
He won the debates, and he's closing strong that last weekend before voting.
He stamped it altogether. And you try to think of the historical significance. It's hard to feel the history of what this is going to be looked at like in 10 years.
There's no time like the first time.
Yeah, you try to put yourself in that position. It's hard to right this second because you don't know where this ends. You don't know how this continues.
Have we said anything yet that's really unapproachable? Maybe 3 titles. Maybe 3 titles.
Yeah, that's tough.
That might have been it.
But
a title?
They probably need to pull a few more strings as far as this roster makeup is concerned.
But the 2 seed is gettable this year. I'm not so scared. I'm not that scared of Phoenix.
With this team this year, I don't get the sense that I feel like they're really in it, and I know I'm going to get text for this. I don't really care. Text in if you disagree with me. I feel like they're really well built for the regular season. I think playoffs is a different conversation
including scheme.
Yes, because I think when you get into the playoffs and you have an 8-man rotation, you're cutting it down the way you have to cut it down. Are their 8 men, their first 8 in the rotation, better than the Mavericks' first 8 in their rotation? Are they better than the Lakers' first 8 in their rotation? Clippers, if they get back Kawhi and Paul George, are they better than those first 8? I have my questions because I think with the depth they've had, they're able, and that's always going to be a conversation.
Could be playoff experience for sure.
But the Grizzlies are able to play 9 and 10 comfortably at this moment in the regular season. And they've had guys go down, and they have a guy like Jarrett Culver who can just step in.
Made for the long haul.
And he's a 6th overall pick. in a
Does he make
previous
any
NBA
noise
draft.
at playoff time? Yeah.
Yeah, so like,
And how do you guard their breakdown offense when you're not playing it one? It's one game out of 7. It's every night you have to guard this same thing. It's good. It's just a different animal.
Yes.
And I don't, not to say it won't work, but I want to see what it looks like.
That's fair too. That's where I would say I have to see them in that playoff setting. I have to see their top 8 really go after the other team's top 8. It's gonna happen. We're gonna see it this year, and it ain't no doubt. And
There's only one way to get that experience.
It's doing it. It's doing it. And they got a little bit
last
last
year. Learn
year.
how to dance. That's dancing.
Something noticeable from last night, and it's a relatively obvious thing. Desmond Bane just having the threat out there of a perimeter shooter helped Ja so much cut down on the turnovers. And another guy to take the ball out of his hands on some possessions. Because Ja, we talked about it, that Mavs game and then the I'm losing my mind. The Nuggets game. They were 1-1 in those 2 games, and he turned the ball over 13 times. Last night, only 1 turnover, and I really think it's a lot of that is because Desmond Bane was inserted back at the lineup. And Desmond Bane, we have to give him credit for a lot of growth in the offseason and being able to handle the ball and distribute the ball a lot better. Because last year, he didn't give us any hint that he could do that.
It's going to be fun to watch the rest of the year. It's only just begun. This hour of our show, we've only just begun. And every day, Lexus of Memphis, they bring you this first hour, and we so appreciate it. The one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
It's exactly what we just got done talking about. The Grizzlies 33-17, win at the Spurs 118-110. And the fact that ESPN flexed them off the schedule to show that Suns and Jazz game, what was that about? That wasn't even a good game, and they didn't have their stars playing. The Jazz had Mike Conley as their main sort of form of scoring, besides Bojan Bogdanovic, but they didn't have Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert. It was that was not a
big
fun
miss.
game.
Programming miss. At
I thought
ESPN.
that was goofy, and I've said it. This is me. This is my opinion. I want to hear what the text line has to say about it. 901-360-8255. I think from watching the NBA this year, Ja's the most exciting player visually that I've seen in the NBA this year. What he does, throwing that lob to Brandon Clark last night, some of the finishes around the rim, the dribble moves, the explosion. I mean, he's got it all to captivate an audience every single night. But the Grizzlies, 24 of 31, 2-2 on that road trip without Desmond Bane, without Tyus Jones, without Kyle Anderson. And I like DeJounte Murray, but DeJounte Murray didn't have it against Ja last night. Still had a triple-double, still did the thing. I was sort of calling for that to be the matchup to watch, and Ja just obliterated it, left no doubt. And that's really cool to see. Ja gets his superstar calls, but we turn our eyes to the all-star starters being announced tonight. How big is that? How much does this sort of signify the start of Ja Morant's prime and what Ja Morant can be? We will see.
My top story, it's Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are the top story around town, and their separation from the Tigers will only widen over the next 2 months. The Tiger season will come to an end. I'm afraid the end of the season for the Tigers will come to an unceremonious thud. For the Grizzlies, they can captivate the town well into May, maybe into Memorial Weekend, and hopefully someday, if not this year, beyond. Taylor Jenkins, there was a time where he was so he was so overwhelmed by the Tiger machine and by the penny machine, you hardly knew he was in town.
Well, Brett, think about the conversations we had about Taylor Jenkins being able to weather the storm with rebuilding this team, would he be the coach that would be around for the peak of this roster?
And for him to kind of come out of the shadows of Penny and the Tigers, it's great for the Grizzlies. Tigers tonight at FedEx Forum against East Carolina. And one thing that also works for the Grizzlies in separation of fandom, all that myriad, this panoply of fandom that we have in this area, well, a lot of times that fandom turns on the Tigers. They turn against the Tigers because they're fans of other college teams. They unite behind the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies bring Ole Miss and Tennessee and Arkansas and Mississippi State and the Tigers together, whereas that fandom can pick at the Tigers, especially in a year like this.
And I want to pose this to you, Brett. Do you feel the sort of tide turning on Grizzlies and Tigers within this market, with the younger crowd, with who's growing up as fans of who? Do you feel that tide turning into the Grizzlies' favor?
Yes, because you can latch on to Ja Morant. You know he's not leaving after next year. You know he's not transferring. You know he's not he's going to be here. You can buy that 12 and wear it for a long time.
Yep.
Not top story of the day.
We have a bunch of NFL hires to discuss. We have Matt Eberflus, the Colts DC, to the Bears. We have Nathaniel Hackett, the Packers OC, to the Broncos. But the one that just really bothers me, and Brian Daboll, by the way, is favored to be the next coach for the Miami Dolphins. That should be announced at some point. We'll see, though. The not top story for me, though, is the Jaguars, and they just ruin everything. They just make everything so hard.
Quit being the Jags.
Hire Byron Leftwich. It's not complicated. He was your quarterback for 4 years between 2003 2006, 24 and 20. Pretty solid quarterback.
I won't say beloved, but he was beliked.
Pretty solid quarterback for the Jaguars. And they're reportedly engaged in final talks with Leftwich, but they were leveraging negotiations to keep Matt Eberflus in there. They were trying to make Byron Leftwich bend to their demands. They reportedly have interviewed Vic Fangio.
Oh, no.
While they're trying,
being the Jags.
You want
what,
Vic
Urban Meyer was busy?
You want Vic Fangio to come in?
Tom Coughlin was tied up?
Serious?
Thanks.
And Fangio. I can't get over. So you're gonna leave Byron Leftwich out and hire Vic Fangio? Come on, guys. But it all has to do with Trent Baalke, their GM. He's an issue, and he's been an issue. He had one good decision in his GM life, and that was hiring Jim Harbaugh in San Francisco. But even that blew up in his face.
Didn't end well.
They didn't like each other by the end of it, and he had to fire him. Since then, he's been absolutely embarrassing. He hired right after. This is the funniest hire, I think, in NFL history. One of them. Right after Jim Harbaugh left, he hired Jim Tomsula.
Oh, wow.
He was to blame for the Jim Tomsula hire. And then after that, he completely flips from old D-line coach to, innovative offensive mind. He goes Chip Kelly. That didn't work. He oversaw the Urban Meyer hiring, so we know how that went. He signed Tim Tebow.
There's 3 strikes in there somewhere.
Byron Leftwich, the thought here is that he does not want to work with Trent Baalke. He'd rather have Adrian Wilson, who's a former Cardinals safety turned Cardinals director of pro scouting. And Adrian Wilson, former All-Pro, has been around the block. He retired in 2014, immediately started working for the Cardinals.
Jags.
Get rid of Trent Baalke. Who cares? Shad Khan is really bad at this. I'm just going to go.
Really is.
He is terrible at this. Make the right decision. Put Adrian Wilson as your GM, make Byron Leftwich the head coach, and then move on with your life.
My not top story, he's not going to be fired, and he shouldn't be. Even with a loss tonight to East Carolina, Penny Hardaway's not going anywhere. But for no other reason, Penny Hardaway will never be fired. Whatever separation agreement it someday, somehow, some way happens, he's never going to be fired for this reason. I can't think of a single place, football or college basketball, that's ever had to fire its 2 biggest stars ever. And that's what it would be with the Tigers. If it doesn't work for Penny Hardaway, it would be Larry Finch and Penny Hardaway. That's your 2 biggest names in your history. I can't think of any place that's had to fire that were alma mater, that school, that was their school,
right,
that's had to do that. There aren't many that had to do it once. There's some, but none have had to go through it twice. We can't go through that. We can't have that happen.
Good point. That's a really good point. And it's been an unceremonious year. It's been a really bad year so far for the Tigers. You really have to hope that Penny is doing all he can behind the scenes to turn it around. I don't know what his future holds. I don't know how he's handling this year, if it's changed his mind about how he feels about possessing the head coaching title for Memphis. But it would be tough to see him have an end, be unceremonious just like Larry Finch. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. When we come back on the other side, we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to talk some Tigers basketball with our good friend, Greg Gaston. You can listen to 7 to 10 on Sports 56 Mornings with Eli Savoy. You're listening to Sports 56, 98.5.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Right now is a great time to take advantage of Choate's winter specials by upgrading your furnace, switching to a Rinnai tankless water heater, or getting $50 off air duct cleaning. By now, you most likely have heard of the benefits of UV light technology for your HVAC system. Purchase any new Carrier furnace right now, and we will install one for you at no additional cost. For those who have not installed a tankless water heater yet, what are you waiting on? Stop wasting utilities heating water you do not use and getting frustrated taking cold showers or baths. Right now, when you purchase a Rinnai tankless water heater, Choates will install one premium toilet for free in your home. And Choates is offering $50 off its air duct cleaning services. Not only does this service get the years of dust out of your ducts, it also helps the indoor air quality you and your family breathe every day. All these specials qualify for 18 months no interest financing with approved credit. So call 347-8086 to schedule your free estimate today. Turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family.
What a great time to start a new year with a new car, truck, or SUV from our friends at Auto Universe Germantown. The new go-to place for the finest luxury vehicles you'll find in one place anywhere. It's on Winchester, just off 385. I'm out here looking at hundreds right now. Lexus, Toyota, Infiniti. Here's some great-looking Audis and Jeeps. And I see Hondas, Chevys, Mercedes, beautiful trucks, SUVs, and of course, cars. Go to eAutoUniverseGermantown.com and take a look for yourself. A lot of people complaining about long wait times getting service appointments. Well, just call Robert here at Auto Universe Germantown. He'll get you in now. 901-751-7300. Everything from brake service, rotating tires, transmission service, even checking the battery. Winchester just off 385. That's where they're located. You're going to love Auto Universe Germantown. Ask for Zach and tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Radio. Finest pre-owned luxury vehicles and great no-haggle prices. 7300 Winchester off 385. Or online at eAutoUniverse.com.
It's time to call Doug and Colin Brown for your house. Looking to buy or sell a home in Mississippi? Rely on Doug and Colin Brown, $1 Million Realtors at Regency Realty in Mississippi. This father-son combo will help you find your next dream home. With decades of experience, Doug and Colin Brown put honesty, integrity, and clients first. Call Doug and Colin Brown in Mississippi at 901-598-9168. Regency Realty, 901-350-5050.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sure thing. We can help you replace those wipers. If yours are squeaking or streaking, it's probably time. We've got a wide selection of wipers that can stand up to any weather, including the right ones for your make and model. We've even got more ways to get them fast, like our next day delivery or free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. AutoZone listen line 901-360-8255. Hit it up. Questions, comments, concerns. We want all of them. You can also message us on our social media platforms. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at our website, sports56whbq.com. Without further ado, let's bring in our good friend Greg Gasson from the Tiger Sideline, brought to you by South Hall Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine. Greg, how are you?
I'm doing fine, guys. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
The great Greg Gaston with us. Thank you, Greg. We sure do appreciate you. And tonight for the Tigers, a chance to atone from that loss at East Carolina, the unlikely loss, just gift-wrapped down the stretch. I think the Tigers were better that day for 38 and a half minutes, but sometimes you got to be better for all 40. Tonight, I feel like a pounding is going to take place.
Well, it's the start of the revenge tour because you think about their next 4 games. After East Carolina, they play Cincinnati. Of course, they beat Cincinnati earlier in the year, so it's sort of a revenge for Cincinnati, or at least they hope to. And then after that, you have UCF and you have Tulane. So 3 losses already in conference. Well, you have 4 total, but 3 losses to teams that going into the season you would think would be easy W's. East Carolina, Tulane, maybe UCF not as easy, but you would think with that lineup you would be able to take care of business. And that hasn't been the case, as everyone knows. So, yeah, tonight, obviously, revenge fills the air. Tigers will once again be shorthanded. But, look, they were pounding East Carolina in Greenville. They had that game. They blew that game. Now they're home, and, yes, they won't have Landers Nolly. They won't have DeAndre Williams again. They won't have Jaden Hardaway, and they may not have Jalen Duren. Still, that roster is good enough to win this game and win this game quite easily. I don't know, Brett. It's maybe they'll rip them apart, but the way it's going for the Tigers this year, I would say probably not.
Can you trust it?
Some drama in the game.
Yeah.
There'll probably be some drama, but yeah, I'm with you. I think they should be able to get that revenge tonight, extract some revenge.
Speaking of revenge tours, did you see the Eagles on their revenge tour? They called it when hell froze over.
Yeah, we never thought that would happen, and it absolutely did.
Money got right, didn't
it? Tonight, I think not only is it a revenge game for the Tigers, hopefully they'll play well. They get the blackout, so they want you to wear black if you're going to the game. It's an 8 o'clock tip, so that's going to be tough for folks. I know the later start on a work night, on a school night, is always tough. But this is enticing to go and watch the game because at halftime, they have this young lady by the name of Jessica Haas.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard this. Jessica Haas, first of all, is very easy on the eyes. And second of all, she's unbelievable at what she does. She's a speed painter. Have you seen these people? I just don't.
Is it the one they do it? Does she do it? Is she the one that does it upside down too, or is it she just does?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly, but she's. I've seen the videos of her where she's just kind of chucking the paint. The thing's going around. It's rotating, and you wonder, is there a trick to this thing? Because I don't know how it comes out to be this unbelievable picture every single time. They have more artistic.
When did she realize she had this talent?
I don't, probably at a young age, but she has more artistic talent in her fingernail, one fingernail than I have.
I can't even trace.
All right. So, in the honor of painting and painting pictures, paint us the picture of the Tigers getting into the NCAA tournament.
Win the conference tournament?
It's certainly abstract.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty concrete. Look, I guess if they sweep Houston, run the table pretty much, maybe one more loss at an SMU, then maybe they get to the conference tournament championship game, lose, depending on who they lose to. If it's Houston, maybe they get in. But I think right now you have to think the ship has sailed, and I'm not delusional. I can't expect them to go on this run where they're not going to lose any more games.
Right. It honestly seems harder to put yourself in at-large conversation than just go in and win however many games and however many days in the AAC tournament.
Right. And look, here's the thing, though, and what I love about basketball, I love it, and then I also have an issue with it at the same time. I love the fact that you have these conference tournaments because, first of all, it's money makers, obviously, for the conferences, but it gives teams that chance. It gives them that last – it's a reboot, gives them that last chance. Who knows? Tigers, by the time the tournament comes around in Fort Worth, they may be fully healthy and maybe the team to beat going in. Now, if that's the case, if you are going to have to win the conference tournament to get into the big dance, then you want to play 3 games. You don't want to play 4 games. So it's obviously pivotal for the Tigers to finish in the top 4, and that's still very doable. But they can't afford, again, to lose, with all due respect, to East Carolina. But you can't lose to these bedbug teams.
No.
I like to call them the bedbug teams. East Carolina, Tulane, Temple, these teams that are always perennially in the bottom of the
Houston's
conference.
the only acceptable home loss the rest of the way. It's the only one fans will not leave really grumbling over.
Absolutely. I mean, nobody wants to lose to anybody, but certainly
Okay, lose to Houston, you can understand it, but you can't understand losing at home to UCF.
Exactly. Houston right now is number 4 in the KenPom. After they went to the Final Four last year, lost 2 key players to the NBA.
They're number 3 in the net.
Number 3 in the net, and lost 2 key starters earlier this year to injury. So, again, it's nothing to be ashamed of. But if you really want to make some noise, you beat Houston twice and don't have any more bad losses, which, again, easier said than done.
Now you got something.
Yeah, you got fuel for the fire, at least for the conversation, when those guys get behind the closed doors and make their selections for at-large bids.
But here's the thing. When we talk about bad losses, besides Houston, anything left on the schedule from a net perspective is not going to help you. If you lose
tonight hurts winning.
If you lose anything besides those Houston games, you're going to get hurt. Because at this point, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it really looks like the AAC, and maybe SMU could make some run and look good down the stretch of the season, but it looks like the AAC is a one-bid league.
It definitely looks that way. SMU's got some decent numbers when you look at KenPom, when you look at the net, and they have a gaudy record, but they really didn't play anybody in the non-conference portion of their schedule. A loss at SMU is not the end of the world, but you've already lost to them, blowing a game here in Memphis. So it doesn't look good. And I would say right now, I mean, as we talk on January 27th, I think it's absolutely a one-bid league unless somebody beats down Houston, knocks them out, wins the conference tournament. I think Houston's still in pretty darn good shape to get that at large. That's the only way right now I can see this being a 2-bid league.
Greg, you talked about the conference tournaments, and I do too. I like the redemption, the reboot, but in my years of watching it, there's 2 really fun, anyways fun to win, but the 2 most fun ways to win, like the Cal years when you knew the Tigers are going to go in there and they're going to hammer 3 teams in 3 days, and there's going to be a net cutting on Sunday afternoon or whenever the last day of the tournament is, when you're that 1 seed and you just obliterate everybody. That's a lot of fun. And then that out of nowhere, when you're the 6 or 7 seed and the announcers pack 2 pair of underwear and you're gone 5 days, and you're the unlikely winner of the conference tournament. That's when it's most fun. And now the Tigers are in that latter scenario, a team that I picked to go to the Final Four, that Gabe Kuhn picked to go to the Final Four. Now we're wanting to be in the top 4 at Dickies Arena.
God, you guys picked them for the Final Four? Wow.
Yep.
I had confidence.
Brett didn't have to out us like that, but yes, we did.
Yep.
I was hoping second weekend. But, yeah, you're absolutely right, Brett. We saw in the past the run that UConn made.
And sorry for the skills talk. I'm sorry I went underwear talk. I'm sorry, Greg.
But we've seen that in the past, right? Wasn't it Vanderbilt that made a big run in the SEC tournament, and there was Connecticut that won 5 games or whatever they had to do?
Arkansas's done it a time or 2.
Yeah, so there's always that drama. And, I never finished my point about the conference tournaments. I said I like it, but also at the same time I have issues. I love it because of the drama that you just talked about. But I also hate the fact that a team can go 16, 18 games, whatever the conference schedule dictates, win the regular season title, lose on some fluke 3-pointer in the conference tournament championship game, and not get in. Yeah. That's what bothers me, is that the regular season champion goes 3 months dominating.
Well, that's what
being
Arkansas
#1.
State's up against. They have to win the Sun Belt tournament. They're not going to get a large bid.
Exactly. And with a lot of the mid-majors, a lot of the smaller conferences, that's the situation every single year. But it's just, you do feel bad when a team dominates for 3 months.
Like Murray
they
State.
do their job. Like Murray State. But then all of a sudden they have a key injury or a fluke play at the end, like I said, loses it for them, and they're on the outside looking in.
But I love those little. I like those tournaments that are played in those little bandboxes, and it is their one shining moment. I mean, Ryder's got to win, against LIU, or they don't go to the tournament.
Yeah, there's a tournament in my hometown of Atlantic City, New Jersey.
I love seeing the pull-out bleachers.
I want to say the A10. What's that, Gabe?
I love seeing the pull-out bleachers at some of those smaller tournaments.
Yeah, but that's part of the March Madness. That's part of the fun that as Brett made the comment earlier about a reboot. Everybody has the chance, and which is, again, I'm not going to get in this debate about football versus basketball at the collegiate level, but everybody has a chance to play in Division I college basketball.
So, Greg, last few times we've talked about this team, it's been, okay, Earl Timberlake is going to take over the main role as main ball handler, but questions have arisen. He has been struggling pretty mightily. The shot's not there. He turns the ball over quite a bit. Who needs to be the catalyst for this team going down the stretch of the season if they're going to make any noise in the AAC tournament?
Well, look, Lomax, if he plays the way he's played since he's come back from the injury, and that's not turning the ball over, which is easier said than done on a consistent level, it helps the team because he has the leadership qualities. I just found out yesterday that they call him the general. I don't know if that's a disservice to the little general, Andre Turner, Brett, but they call him the general. I like what he brings to the table, but I've said it a million times. This is not a team that's making a run in the NCAA tournament if he's your starting point guard for 30 minutes. It's already been proven for 3 years. You're in your 4th year. He's a good, solid player. He's a 10 to 12-minute off-the-bench point guard on a team that's going to make an NCAA tournament run. That's my opinion. It's always been that way. I'm sticking to it. They're not all of a sudden going to turn around and be this team that's going to challenge for the national championship because he's back in the starting lineup. But from what they have, I thought Earl Timberlake would step up. He hasn't. Thought Amani Bates may be more consistent. He's got to get stronger. There's no question. Alex Lomax is your best option. Tyler is not a point guard. He can play point. He can spell guys, but he is a shooter, and he has proven his worth. So really, when it's all said and done, Lomax has to be the guy on the floor to lead the team. But I'm still very, very concerned when you have a DeAndre Williams miss yet another game. You wonder if he's even going to play again, if his career may be over with. I don't know. I know nothing about the injury and how serious it is, but obviously he's missed a bunch of games. You hope you can get him back. Obviously, Duran's injury is not serious, but he may miss a second straight game. You have Landers Nolly. What's his injury like? So you have so many unanswered questions. But Lomax, to answer your question, Gabe, I guess would be the guy.
Right. It's crazy, sort of the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs of how we talk about him in his career. At this point, I agree with you. I mean, what we saw out of him in the last game, 7 assists, no turnovers, that would lead you to believe that he could do it. But offensively, when you get to sort of the end of the season, you probably feel this way as well. You need a guard who can go create for himself offensively, and Alex Lomax has just never really been that guy.
I don't want people get so upset when we bring up his name. This is not pile on Alex Lomax. This team is losing for many, many, many reasons, and it's not him purely. He's certainly part of that for the reasons you just mentioned, because he's a guy that really can't. He can create a shot. He just can't finish a shot. He's just not a good offensive player. He's a pretty good distributor of the basketball. But this is way more than what Alex Lomax is. And you know what? If it really played with the heart and the soul and the competitiveness of Alex Lomax, they'd probably be in a much better position. I've never doubted that kid's leadership, the quality of a human being he is, what he means to the team, how much they like him. But let's be honest here. When you make a run, you have a point guard like Penny Hardaway. You have a point guard like Derrick Rose. You have really strong point guards. Look around college basketball year to year and look at who's running the show for those teams. There is a big difference.
There's no question about it. Greg, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Greg.
You can follow Greg at Greg_Gasson. He's from the Tigers Sideline, brought to you by South Hall Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine. Real quick, we're going to get to a break. And, Brett, you brought up something earlier in the show, in our Not Top story of the day, about Penny Hardaway and a possible unceremonious end at Memphis. I want to discuss that on the other side of the break. But there were some other AAC scores last night. SMU hammered South Florida, no surprise there, 74-54. Wichita State, 84-79 at home over UCF. UCF, they were a team that you thought, okay, could possibly be an NCAA tournament team. I just don't know if they have enough. I like Johnny Dawkins. I think he does a good job there, has done a good job in the past, but I don't know if they have enough to be some type of tournament team. Ricky Council, the fourth for Wichita State, dropped 31 last night. And also, and this is sort of the story of the year in the AAC besides, the Tigers struggling, Tulane is a competitive team, Brett. Beat Tulsa 97-63 last night, and the fighting Jalen Cook and Jalen Forbes
couldn't miss
23 and 24. They were unbelievable,
and making bombs.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's time to get to a break. When we come back on the other side, Brett and I have to discuss the future of Penny Hardaway and sort of what this season could mean to his future. Right here on Sports 56 98.5.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
It's a brand new year.
And yet still here you are.
And now I'm not saying that you should make New Year's resolutions.
But if you did, they should all have something to do with Central Barbecue, right?
You think I'm so predictable?
That's because you are.
I could have been about to say anything.
As long as anything by me telling people to go to Central Barbecue.
Well, yeah.
See, predictable. Still, we do love us some Central Barbecue.
Exactly. So people should resolve to spend plenty of time at one of the 4 locations of Central Barbecue this year.
You know what? You're right.
And you said I was predictable.
I knew you were going to say that.
Hey, you're not Pete.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple. And you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents per gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code GET for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code GET for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GET.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Tigers versus ECU tonight at 8 p.m. Tigers try to improve to 11-8 and 5-4 in conference. And then next Thursday, they'll have a nice little layoff. Then they'll play at Cincy. Now, Brett, you brought up something in Not Top Story that I think is a worthy conversation. I think it's very interesting. Being that they're 10-8 right now, with the expectation level that is here, the expectation level that has been set by Penny Hardaway himself, talking about certain players being the best two-way players in the country, all the smoke, saying Imani Bates was going to be his point guard. How much does this year and how it has turned out sort of mean to the time he'll be allowed to right the ship in the future?
I think he'll have all kind of time, Gabe. I don't think there's any reason performance-wise that they would ever fire him, because they just can't go through it now. It might be a mutual back channel understanding of, stand down, let's do this a nice way. But being fired at the hot dog stand at Freedom Hall, like Larry Finch was, is just not going to happen two times in 30 years.
And, Brett, they blew up a whole lot. They blew up the Cubby Smith era completely. They blew it all up to bring in Penny Hardaway to put butts back in the seats, and he has been successful at doing so. He has created excitement. There's no question about it.
He's done a lot of things really well.
I just get very concerned about the excitement waning. Like, the excitement is not near what it was coming into the year. When they were 5-0, you could have filled just about every seat in FedEx Forum. Now you're getting 11,000, 12,000.
That 5-0 seems unlikely now, doesn't it? I mean, if we went back, I don't know that I would pick them to win all those games. I don't know if I would pick them over St. Louis U. I don't know how I would pick Penny Hardaway to beat a Rick Stansberry team, because he's not that caliber of coach. But his material, it is. I hear so many people talking about the players they don't have, and it's obvious. I mean, tonight going to be no Nolly, no DeAndre, maybe no Duran, no Jaden Hardaway. That's big. Still the second best talent assemblage in the AAC behind Houston without those guys.
Brett, you have two guys from this city in the Lawson brothers who are 4-star recruits that haven't touched the court, that have barely any minutes on the year. They have so much talent. John Camden, 4-star.
Malcolm Dandridge.
Sam Onu, 4-star, redshirting. You have so much talent. It should never be a question about who's out. You should worry about who's actually going to play and what they can provide you.
And with those players, still had those stumbling losses, to Iowa State, Georgia, and Ole Miss.
Yeah,
and Murray State.
And there's no excuse for those. Yeah, you can't say you didn't have Landers, Nolly, Jalen Duran, whoever it is on the floor.
We're out of excuses.
Yes, definitely out of excuses. And here's the other thing that sort of gives me the idea that Penny Hardaway, and I don't know how the IARP case is going to sort itself out. We've seen one ruled upon. They didn't get a postseason ban, so that's, I guess,
pretty
somewhat
lenient.
Good news. But having the IARP case over your head as a program and trying to switch coaches while that's still over your head as a program has got to be a tough ask and a tough thing to do. And I'd imagine the athletic department, that's got to be one of their lines of thinking. And I don't think they're planning on moving away from Penny Hardaway anytime soon. I think it would take a whole lot this year, especially for them to move off of him. But the IARP case has to be something on their mind.
Yeah, and you just wonder when that will be decided, when you get you finally move on from that one way or the other. You get hammered by it, you stay with Penny, and then you have this kind of year again next year, and recruiting takes a dip. I still don't think they would fire him. Just summarily, you're out.
It seems like it's going to be really hard for recruiting not to take a dip after how these 4 years have
just
shaped
gravity
up.
gets you, doesn't it? I mean, Sir Isaac Newton wins here, doesn't it? It has to come down a little.
And you see some success for guys that transferred out. You see some success. Boogie Ellis is the one I bring up. I know he has inconsistencies. I understand that. He'll score 25 points one game, 0 points
I don't
the
miss
next.
him. Do you?
I think he would mean a lot to this team.
Do you think Damian Ball would?
I don't know about Damian Ball. Never really, and they were talking about him being a one and done, Brett. They were talking about him
We've
from a
talked about
talent
them all
perspective.
being one and done, though, Gabe. That's another thing. And Brett and Gabe were, I guess, guilty of it. We both picked Final Four, and that looks pretty foolish when you're kind of languishing around to be in the first four of the AAC.
But when you look at recruiting, and to this point, I think people have given Penny Hardaway the benefit of the doubt. Oh, he's got all these NBA connections. He knows the NBA. He understands it. He can teach me how to be a playmaker at the next level. At this point, you haven't seen any one guy come in, with maybe the exception of Precious Achiuwa, although I think Precious Achiuwa was a made guy coming into Memphis. You haven't seen anyone be developed into an NBA player necessarily.
No, you have not.
And that was the draw. That was the draw.
And so many are the same today as first day. I think Lester Quinones is very much the very same player, and on getting his feet set for the spot-up threes, it's always that stutter step. He's never gotten that down. That's drilling. That's work.
That's development.
That's
development. Player development. There are some people that do it better than others. In college football, it's Nick Saban over the rest of the entire country. In college basketball, you look at what Coach K's done over the years. You look at Coach Cal, Jay Wright. That's development. You haven't seen it with Penny Hardaway.
I think Jay Wright's one of the best player developers out there. In 2 national titles show it.
Go look at the NBA draft guys he's had over the years.
Yeah.
Bunch of them. Role players to stars, he has them all. That'll do it for hour number 1. We come back for hour number 2. We're going to be busy. Keith Smith at the top to talk some NBA from Yahoo Sports and Spot Rack. 4:30, we get to our NFL top 4 coaches remaining in the playoffs. And 4:45, we talk about the game tonight, Tigers versus ECU. We do our Tigers bankroll. You're listening to Sports 56, 98.5.
Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine is celebrating their 35th year. Come in today and choose from a big selection of tequilas, vodkas, and over 70 different single malts. Bourbon whiskey fans will find over 200 bourbons and whiskeys from around the world, along with wines from every region for all you wine enthusiasts. Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine, 146 Highway 72, Suite 102 in Collierville. It's next to Captain John's Barbecue. Open every day, including Sundays from 10 to 7 for football and all sports fans. Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine, celebrating 35 years with you.
Hey, Jeff Allen, it's a new year, and that means time to make your customers happy in 2022 at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Happy is easy to do with our great savings. I've got to take your pick that will knock your socks off. How about a 2022 Kia Forte LXS or a 2022 Kia Sportage? Your choice, $199 per month.
Forte's $27.99 due at signing, and Sportage is $34.99 due at signing. Plus, all Gossett Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
Plus, a 2022 Kia Sorento $359. Only $34.99 due at signing, and all 36-month leases. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sportage N702 7277, MSRP 25460. Forte NE44 2833, MSRP 21980. Sorento NGO 990119, MSRP 35340. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 plus finance through KMF. Excludes tax filing and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/3/2022. Dealer stock only.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So we're going to use humor. But we don't want to insult your intelligence, so nothing too goofy. And we need to avoid any polarizing topics. Oh, and it has to be about how you can save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. You know what? Maybe humor is a bad idea. Yeah, it's never going to work. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Get in the swing of things. Grab your friends, your clients, your employees, and go enjoy everything you love about Topgolf in a luxury suite. While at Memphis' only Topgolf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Topgolf Swing Suite is an immersive social experience offering guests a luxury private lounge to enjoy Erling Jensen's extraordinary food and beverage service, all while playing a selection of games in a one-of-a-kind simulation day. Topgolf Swing Suites are great for work outings, celebrations, or just getting together. It's fun for the whole family. It's fun for golfers and non-golfers alike. They have more than just golf. They have soccer, baseball, zombie dodgeball, football, and more. Located at 5069 Sanderlin, adjacent to the Doubletree East Memphis. Check us out at SwingSuiteMemphis.com or call us at 901-58-SWING. Again, that's 901-58-SWING at Memphis' only Topgolf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Book your suite today.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
So you're looking for more out of your battery? We can help. If you're in need of higher performance, we'd go with Duralast Platinum. It's the best choice for premium power design for your vehicle, and the line now includes EFB and AGM technology, which means we've got the right Duralast Platinum battery for you, and they're only available here at AutoZone. That's why we're America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2020.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk, chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in on Sports Time, hour number 2 of the program. Gabe Kuhn with you, alongside Brett Norsworthy. Jay Morgan Harder producing the program in place for our normal producer, Bryant Dacus. Just a reminder, sports56whbq.com is where you can find all of our podcasts, featured audio and everything else. Go there. You can watch us live as well and message us from that site as well. Let's go ahead and bring in our good friend Keith Smith at Keith Smith NBA from Yahoo Sports and Spot Rack.
Hey,
Keith, how are you?
Guess what we want to talk about, Keith?
Yeah.
I imagine the NBA and the NBA trade deadline.
Well, first I have to ask you All-Star game. I need a prediction for you. Do we see John Morant's name called as a starter in the backcourt for the Western Conference?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance we might, unless there was a really strong fan push for Luka Doncic at the end of the game, or at the end of the voting round for the fan vote. I think we might see Ja get in there. He's not going to pass Steph. We know that. So he's just going to hold off Luka. And I think there's a good chance because of the record and the missed time that Luka's had this year that Ja may push past him in the media and player vote as well.
Yeah, it's meritorious. No, I wanted to go to one of your preseason predictions. You really liked them. You didn't go all the way, but you liked them and thought they could be good. Now, I'm being facetious here that we were going to talk about this. But J.B. Bickerstaff in Cleveland, as we look at the standings today ahead of Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, they are really playing good basketball. It's been, one of the more fun stories to monitor this year is they came up from kind of nowhere. It was this goofy, weird 3-big lineup that we weren't sure was going to work. And then they had all the point guards, and how is that going to work? And they've made it work, and then just kept kind of soldiering on as they've had injuries and other things and guys missed time. And that is a
Rubio
very
hurt.
good team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How much development have you seen from Darius Garland though in himself this year?
Yeah, big time. Where he is from his rookie year to now, it's like night and day. He came in as a guy who all he wanted to do was score the ball. He had no real interest in being anything but a scorer. And towards the end of his first year, they said, you know what, we're going to put the ball in your hands, but you have to be a playmaker. We're going to move Colin Sexton into the off-ball role. And both guys kind of, I think, naturally started to settle in a little bit more. And then Darius Garland, those on-ball reps, they were messy early, but that's all part of the experience. And now what he's been able to do is really get things moving forward into a position where he is a really, really good, productive player.
Mm-hmm. Next 3 to 5 years, and I think they're one of those teams with all the young pieces. They could be really, really good for a time to come. Grizzlies are that way. Besides, outside of those two, or maybe you could speak to those two, who do you think are some young teams in 3 to 5 years we're talking about championship contenders?
Yeah, it's so hard in the NBA because windows are really only 3 years or so long because of just the way the contract works. So many of these guys are on 4-year deals, maybe 5-year deals, and we see so many of them move. But I think Oklahoma City has a chance to be pretty good. We'll see what they turn that mountain of draft picks into. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's a pretty good player already. Josh Giddey's showing signs. Got a couple other interesting guys, so that they're going to be good. I think, and I'm not playing in my home crowd here, my adopted hometown, but I think the Orlando Magic have a chance to be a very good team moving forward because they've got some guys who can really play. They get after it. They play very hard. They just need reps and experience, and we're seeing that. They've played a lot of close games this year that they've lost down the stretch because they just don't know really how to close games or who to go to. So I think they're going to be a pretty tough team as well.
But we can legitimately be as excited as we are in Memphis, can't we?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. There's no question. This is not a thing where you look at the Grizzlies and say, well, this is cute, but this is all going to go away here in another couple months when we hit the end of the season because they've kind of been there now. They were real close a couple years ago, and then last year got that first kind of experience at it, and now their staying power this year has been what's really been impressive to me. Often we'll see a young team come onto the scene, kind of burst onto the scene and look really good for a stretch of games, and then as teams figure them out and they play them for that second, third, maybe even fourth time, they've kind of got to handle on what they do. Memphis has handled that. They've handled all that through a slew of injuries, just like every other team has, and they've just kept on chugging. So I think that's why you can feel really good about them, lasting and sticking around for a while.
With the trade deadline approaching, Zach Kline and that front office have been they have moved pieces and done so many things, and a lot of it's been done in the offseason. But what do you think about them and how active they may be at the trade deadline?
Yeah, they're in a position. They're in such an interesting position because they have the ability to do one of two things. Either you can make some moves now, which should bolster you for the rest of this year and kind of give you a jump on the off season, where it's almost like you start your off season a few months early and you get some guys in and you kind of get the bonus of this year, and then you're going to have them moving forward. I don't think they're going to do anything where it's, hey, we just need one guy to put us over the top. Who cares if it's an expiring contract? I don't think they're going to do that. That flexibility doesn't go away this summer, but it just changes in a way where it becomes, because you've got the expiring guys and they're moving on and those kind of things, that's where it starts to get a little bit of a different look. But I think they're positioned to really do some work here at the trade deadline, because what I talk about a lot at this time of year is, can you make trades that are zero production loss trades or minimal production loss trades? Or do you have somebody else that you're ready to slide in and say they're ready for a bigger role? And I think the Grizzlies have a handful of guys, not so much in the zero production loss, because they've got an awful lot of good players, but they've got some guys that they could move on from because they've either got other guys ready or the guy coming in would replace the guy going out. And I think that's a great place to be in.
What at this deadline for the Grizzlies, to the balance of having somebody that can really help the rest of the way in the future, or do you approach it guarded, almost the Hippocratic oath, do no harm?
Yeah, that's the question they really have to answer. And I think part of it needs to be, well, you're having the conversation right now, 2 weeks out from the deadline, is how far can we go? Can we, if we make a move, do we really think we can win a championship? And if your answer is yes, then I believe you make that move. It doesn't have to be some kind of crazy all-in move to, cash in every chip you have. But if it's, hey, we can go get this player here and we can make that move and that's going to boost us enough, then go ahead and make that move. Because like I said, windows are so short in the NBA. How many times do we see a team where we're like, boy, they're young and they're good and they're going to be around for the next decade, and then 3 years later they're completely broken up and moved on from? So that's the question you have to have. And if the answer is, you know what, we're not ready yet to do that, that's okay too, because you've got a really good team that I think what you can play forward here is, hey, let's see where we go with this group, and then we'll evaluate things over the summer and figure out what we really need because we'll find out through this playoff run.
So all the people putting Jaylen Brown in their trade machine to the Grizzlies, they need to calm down. They're probably not getting that type of move this trade deadline.
They're absolutely not getting that type of move this trade deadline because the Celtics aren't trading Jaylen Brown.
No, I hear you.
That's that's the easier part of that answer.
Darn.
But if they go for like a mid-level type contract, what type of guy is that? Is that maybe a 3-and-D guy, maybe a backup big to sort of give a reprieve to or relief to Steven Adams? What could that look like if they go try to get some mid-level guy to make a difference this year?
Yeah, what I'd like to see them do is go and get some shooting with a little bit of size behind it. So if they could get into the mix for a guy like Harrison Barnes, and that's going to probably cost you Kyle Anderson and somebody else for the salary matching and then maybe a pick. But that's the kind of move that I think would be really good for them because it comes with the added benefit of he's under contract for one more year. Harrison Barnes is also a guy who, what a GM told me just the other day about him is, if you need him to be your third best guy, he'll be your third best guy. If you need him to be your sixth best guy, he'll be your sixth best guy. He's got no ego. He just wants to play and he just wants to win. And if you think back, I mean, he came up as the fourth, fifth guy for those Warriors teams that were, so great early on in their run. And that's part of, what I think he's always kind of held to is, hey, whatever it takes, whatever you need from me. And I think he's a guy that could really help that team because you could play him at the 3 in opening groups if you wanted to, and then you can bring him off the bench. You can play the small ball 4 for you as he's done, before, not even small ball anymore now, the way the game is. He's probably just more of a true 4, and you can go a lot of different ways. And I think he'd be a good get, again, because he's going to give you that benefit of being there next year, too.
I didn't even want to go here with this, but since you brought his name up, and he obviously plays for the Kings right now, what is the issue with the Kings? It seems like from a roster perspective, they have some guys. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes I even like as a center at times. What is wrong? Is it just sort of a franchise thing, or is there something different holding them back?
Gabe, if I can answer that question, I need to be on the next flight to Sacramento to start running the team, right? And it's figure that thing out after a decade and a half of just mess after mess. I don't know. I said this the other day. They played the Celtics, who, as you guys know, I cover. So I was covering the game, and I said, boy, this team is kind of the epitome of, boy, the whole is far less than the sum of its parts. So I look at their players, and I'm like, I like that guy. I really like that guy. Boy, I like him too. Right. The next thing you know, you're at 8 players that you're kind of like, boy, I really like.
And how much more you need?
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing is it just never comes together for them in the way that it seems like it should. And it's one of those things where I tend not to believe in curses and those kind of things. But when it's been a decade and a half that, we're there, that is, really kind of, you start looking at it and saying, boy, I don't understand how this can be a thing.
Mm-hmm. I can never for the life of me understand why that roster, that collection of guys they have just doesn't work together.
Insert New Orleans into this conversation with everything we've said.
They've had
injury.
I guess injury and their makeup's a little different, right, Keith? I mean, they have Brandon Ingram and Zion, and they went and got Jonas. They don't. The makeup of their team kind of confuses me. The Pelicans.
Yeah, they've got some work to do. Now, in fairness, it's never come together the way they envisioned their roster would be because of Zion being out.
Right.
Their hope now, we know, was, he broke his foot over the summertime, but hopefully we'll have him back, right around the holiday period. And that clearly is not going to be the case. And I think we're all just waiting for the press release to say he's not going to play this season. Yep. I think that's, very likely where we're headed. So I'll give them a little bit of a break. And then as far as historical, droughts go, they're nowhere near the Kings because they've had some playoff teams.
Chris Paul.
They had that Anthony Davis-led team that won that series. So, they're ahead on that group.
Yep.
I want to say someone pulled this up the other day that the Sacramento Kings, since LeBron James entered the NBA, he by himself, teams he is on, he has more playoff wins than any franchise does in total.
Wow.
Between his wins with the Cavs, Heat, and Lakers. But the Kings have not won a single playoff game in the entire time that LeBron James has been in the NBA. I believe that was the stat.
Boy, good luck in ticket sales doing with that.
Yeah, Kings fans are.
You want to buy a skybox? Nope.
No.
Yeah, they are they're a special breed, and I think if they eventually ever do break through and win, I think we'll all be there celebrating with them pretty hard.
Talking with Keith Smith at Keith Smith NBA on Twitter. So we had the James Harden report come out about him being unhappy in Brooklyn, not liking Brooklyn, that whole thing. It seems like that, though, at this point, was just sort of noise with the report that came out yesterday. Adrian Wojnarowski saying that he restated his intention to stay with the team, and they're going to keep him through the trade deadline.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I always say if there's that much smoke, there's bound to be at least a small fire somewhere that you got to look into. And my read on that situation is that was the Nets basically saying, hey, we don't want you asking James Harden every day for the next 2 weeks, and then every day beyond that until we lead up to the off season what his plans are. We're moving forward. He's on our team. We're just gonna play this out. The Nets are not going to trade James Harden right now. That was never going to be a thing because they are too good. Even with the Kyrie Irving situation, you get Kevin Durant back healthy, that team can still win a championship. That's how good those two guys are. But I think what the door is open for is if James Harden is now kind of thinking, this isn't everything I thought it would be here in Brooklyn. And boy, it looks pretty good to play with Joel Embiid. He's the best big I've ever played with, and he's going to make the game easier on me. Plus, he knows you go with Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey's never going to trade him. He's, that's his guy. He's, they're as attached as any player and GM are, in the game over the last probably 2 decades. So I think you're really kind of at a point where, yeah, that's why that story is out there that he may be interested in joining Philadelphia. But in the next couple of weeks, not a chance.
And I have to say, watching that Lakers game on Tuesday, I sort of understood why he was angry. They're playing a home game, and besides Patty Mills, the starters were DeAndre Bembry, Kessler Edwards, and Day'Ron Sharpe. I'm like, oh, that's not what he signed up for.
No, absolutely not. I mean, he's really sitting there looking at this and saying, man, I could have gone through the rebuilding Rockets and played with better units than this. They're overly dependent on guys who were late first-round draft picks and two-way players. When you're playing your two-way players that much this deep into the season, that's probably not a great thing because they're not playoff eligible. That means there's got to be a roster move made to get one of those guys in the mix. Now, I think if you're James Harden, you've been around long enough to know, though, too, these are the dog days of the NBA season. You just got to kind of get through this, push to the trade deadline. Then you get the All-Star break. Everybody gets off their feet for a little bit, and then you hit it hard down the home stretch. But it's this period, this is when it's guys are out, teams are not pushing all that hard, and it can be tough to get through this part of the schedule.
get to the time change that when we spring forward. I think a lot of the NBA will be ready for that. Keith, it looks like, again, we did it again last year. The Knicks teased us, and now we're back to reality this year. And last night, just the struggle bus for Julius Randle.
Yeah, absolutely. Julius Randle is one of those people, the folks who watch the game super closely and do a lot of analyzing of shot and shot quality would tell you this isn't a surprise. And they were all over it last year. He just made a whole bunch of really difficult shots last year, and that's why he looked better than what he probably is. This year, those difficult shots are not going in. They, in an effort to improve their defense, they downgraded improve their offense. They downgraded their defense, which was what made them a special team last year, so much that now they're just another defensive team, and they don't have anything that they can really hang their hat on to say, this is what we do and this is what we do well. And that's been really tough for them. So that they're in a position now where there's a lot of people around the league who are saying, if they want to pivot real quick and kind of redo things, they could pull that off here very, very quickly because of the way their contract structures are set up.
Mm-hmm. Also last night we had the Hornets score 158. Most by any team in the last two seasons. They beat the Pacers 158-126.
Keith Smith's on 200 watch.
Pacers are just a struggling team. But the Hornets in themselves, LaMelo, they have some good pieces. Miles Bridges has stepped up this year. What do you think about them going forward in the East? Maybe not this year, but in years to come.
Yeah, they're probably a piece away, but the guys they have are pretty good, and they fit together really well. You've got LaMelo Ball, you've got Terry Rozier, really good backcourt who are both probably more point guard than they are anything else. And that's a good thing because what you get with the two of them is they can really shoot, they can pass, they can do a lot of different things. Gordon Hayward, he didn't play last night, but he's generally such a good stabilizing piece for them because he does a lot of stuff that goes kind of unnoticed for that team. And then Miles Bridges' breakout season has got him in a position where he is going to get paid and paid handsomely. Yeah. They're still missing a big. Mason Plumlee does what he can, and he works really hard. But they need one more player to really kind of push them. But the good news is they've got that ability to make that happen, whether that be now at the trade deadline, if they want to kind of go that route, or if they want to go into the offseason and make it happen there. They're going to be well-positioned to be a tough team for years to come.
He's our man, Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports' Spot Rec. Hey, real quick, Ben Simmons. Are we on Ben Simmons' watch for this trade deadline, or are we just putting that to bed?
I think we can probably put that one to bed. It sounds like they're going to take that to the offseason, and that is a major upset for me. I assumed this would get done and he would get moved on from before we hit the trade deadline. But now it sounds like the 76ers are really content to say, you know what, let's let this get to the trade or to the offseason. We'll go hunting for James Harden if we can make that happen. If we can't, there's going to be another star that's going to shake free, and we're going to be sitting there with a pretty good player with a $35 million contract that does all of the salary matching, and they can convince their team, hey, we got Ben Simmons back, and that's going to be Daryl Morey's sales pitch the rest of the way.
That's a hell of an asking price. 35. There's no question about it. Keith, appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Keith.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You got Keith Smith with us every week talking the NBA. You don't need $35 million, not anything close to that, down at All-Star Chevrolet. If you're ready for some car and truck shopping, they've got deals for you, and they're ready to sell any vehicle today. All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch, that's the place you need to be, right off Kraft Goodman Road, right off Highway 78. First exit into Mississippi on Highway 78. All the Silverados, Suburbans, Tahoes, and Blazers right there in Olive Branch. Right there at All-Star Chevrolet. Ask for Kevin or Jeff or Drew or any member of the All-Star team. They'll show you all the choices and more in the pipeline. They will go fast, so try to get down there today, tomorrow, this weekend. All-Star Chevy friends, they've been spot on getting all the best 21s and 22s you can imagine in all the colors that you want. 0% financing, it's available. Your good credit deserves 0% financing. Go to allstarautogroup.com and look at all the pre-owned and certified pre-owned Chevys, Silverados, Tahoes, Suburbans, and go big. Check out that Corvette Stingray. If you want to sell any car or truck and get a check today, remember, it's not South Haven, it's not the Pike, it's not Mount Moriah or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. So find new roads to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
We have a break to take. We'll do that now. When we come back, we have some NFL talk. We get to our top 4 coaches remaining in the playoffs. Stay with us on Sports 56, 98.5.
Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane bring you Sports 56 Grind Time. Brought to you by Poultry Power. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Really think about what you'd most like to have for dinner tonight. Do you feel like cooking? Do you feel like going to some chain restaurant and having the same thing some guy in Branson is having for dinner? Or would you like to treat yourself and tuck into one of the best steaks you've ever had in your life? If you picked door number 3, then you picked 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination. Imagine that sizzling steak, perfect steak delivered to your table. The aroma of the steak, always cooked over an open flame by the steak experts. You know what you want. You can see it. You want 117 Prime.
It's a new year. That means it's time for a floor model sale at Family Leisure. You can help Family Leisure make room for all the new 2022 products that are coming in. All floor models are priced to move right now. If it's on the floor, it's on sale. But you better hurry to get these special savings because once these floor models are gone, folks, they're gone. We're talking theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball and hockey tables, all on sale. Shuffleboard tables, pool tables, they're on sale too. Plus, there's so much more on sale. And you can get New Year's deals on spas and swimming pools as well. Family Leisure needs the room for new inventory. So what's here has got to go. You can help them. The floor model sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Happy New Year from our good friends at Family Leisure.
Hi, folks. It's year-end at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch. Hundreds of new and used Chevy cars and trucks to choose from with huge savings on select models. Immediate financing available with interest rates low as 0%. A $7 million used car inventory specializing in late model GM-certified cars and trucks and lots of vehicles under $10,000. Financing for everyone, regardless of past credit. Save some money and end the year in style. Huge year-end savings going on now at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch, 385 in Houston, Levy, and Collierville. The best things in life may not be free, but at least they're affordable at sunrisememphis.com. Find new roads.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your mid Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
So not a surprise today, but we get the official announcement. We knew it was going to be his last game in Heinz Field when he took the field, his last game of the year in Week 18. But it's official. Big Ben has retired after 18 years in the Steelers organization. 5th all-time in pass yards with 64,088. 8th in pass TDs all-time with 418. 2 Super Bowls. And this record is pretty gaudy. 165, 81, and 1. That'll get you into the Hall of Fame pretty easily.
It will. But in that town, Terry Bradshaw with 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And
different
a
time.
much different era.
Yes.
Lot more run, defense dependent. Terry Bradshaw could throw the ball and had 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers. It's amazing to go back and look at Lynn Swann's career receiving yards and to think he got in the Hall of Fame with that. A lot of Lynn Swann's prowess, greatness, came on Super Sunday, came in the Super Bowl.
Big Ben, the transition the past few years of what he had to be at the end of his career was just ugly. I mean, he just didn't have it anymore. His arm was terrible.
Couldn't get everything synced up.
After the elbow surgery, he
Elbow
couldn't do it
got
anymore.
Bradshaw.
It was just sort of out routes, little in cuts, drag
Dink,
routes,
dunk,
dunk down the field, and that offense was terrible because
It looked like it hurt for him to really try to get on that back foot and fog it.
Yeah, and the worst thing for him is the worst O-lines of his career were his last 3 years.
Yeah. When
and he
needed
just
the best.
he got hammered.
Same thing happened to Eli Manning, what he played behind in New York. And I do not get off and weigh into the Eli or Ben or Phillip Rivers out of that draft. I think they're all going to Canton at some point. I don't know that other than Ben Roethlisberger, it will be first ballot for Eli or for Phillip Rivers. But again, how do you tell the story of 2003 to 2021 without those 3 people?
If I know Big Ben too, if Tom Brady retires this year, if they'll be eligible for Canton the same year, Big Ben's got to come back, right? He's got to have his own enshrinement ceremony.
Yeah.
He's going to make sure he's got his own.
I did a show yesterday in Savannah, Georgia, and you know what they tried to trip me up on? They're very pro Georgia Bulldog, and they asked me. They said, "Hey, we hear you think you're pretty good." I said, "Well, I don't think I'm pretty good." But they said, "Well, let's see if you can get this. Can you name the Georgia quarterbacks that have played in a Super Bowl?" I said, "Well, sure I can." You know, we had been talking about Matthew Stafford and maybe getting his. I said, "Well, sure I can." I said, "Most people leave out Zeke Bratkowski, and he got in as Bart Starr's backup in Super Bowls 1 and 2. And, of course, Fran Tarkenton." And I said, "Y'all are trying to trip me up with Hines Ward. He played quarterback at Georgia, but then played in the Super Bowl as a wide receiver and was MVP with the Steelers."
That's good. And you got it. First
I said,
try.
"What's my prize?"
Nothing. They didn't give you anything?
Nothing.
Damn. Not even a pat on the back. Gold star. They gave you nothing?
They didn't think I could get it.
Big Ben was Let's not act like his career, and like people want, and I see Steelers fans like, well, he's one of the greatest of all time. We have to give him credit where credit's due. You know why people don't give him the credit where it's supposedly due.
And his transgression, if that had come at a later point in his career after Me Too, he may have been out of the league.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And that passed.
He was Buck Wild in his younger days. He went on he had like multiple guest appearances on WWE, slamming the wrestlers down.
He was with his whole line.
Well, the motorcycle wreck.
And the motorcycle wreck, yeah.
He was
in 06.
He did some really stupid things with his cellular phone too. I'll just leave it at that. Now, let's go ahead.
That's why I said transgression.
Yeah.
That kind of catches it all, doesn't it?
It does. I've never understood that. I've never understood the thought of sending private parts via cellular phone.
I haven't.
That's a good thing, Gabe. That's very good.
Yeah, no. I understand.
Nor do I
I'm
want
one
to
of the
receive
good
those.
ones. No, I don't know. I don't. Yeah. You know, it's
a
just...
thumbs up is one thing, but that's another.
That's not a thumbs up.
No.
It's up, though. Where do we go from there? It's hard for me to transition.
I was talking about Savannah, and look what it led to.
We do have some coaching hires that were made today. Well, I want to talk about it a little bit later when we get into what's trending about Nathaniel Hackett. He is officially hired by the Broncos. He's the Packers' offensive coordinator. There's some sort of talk. Aaron Rodgers, he was rumored to go to Denver this offseason when everything was going down between he and the Packers. There are some talks about Aaron Rodgers possibly going there. We will discuss that.
If you can get Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, you hire anybody to get that done.
The Bears hire Colts DC Matt Eberflus as their head coach. I think Matt Eberflus, he's really good. He's good. He's a good coach.
So once again,
but
no
boring
Pat
as hell.
Fitzgerald, no Ryan Day. They're not doing that.
Why would? And I also don't think Pat Fitzgerald is really. He's a great coach. Don't get it twisted.
Pound
What
for
he's
pound,
done at Northwestern, like you got to give him credit for it. Do you think he can lead pros like that? Do you think he can do the sort of same shtick he does at Northwestern that he?
No, and
I don't think
that's why the
work.
Bears and nobody's ever taken a swing at that.
But
it's different.
But with Matt Eberflus, that offense coordinator hire is going to be so vital. I mean, that's going to be make or break him with Justin Fields and what that offense.
When Gabe, we have talked about get a defensive guy and you can go find whiz kid. You can go find offensive guru.
Mm-hmm. We talked about Jags and Byron Leftwich. Dan Quinn's going to stay in Dallas. Dan Quinn has officially sort of withdrawn his name from all these head coach openings.
What was the Dan Quinn mania about? What did he do this year that deserved right back into a head coaching job?
I'll say this. What he did in Atlanta, I mean, at the beginning, really good. Okay. Got him to a Super Bowl. I know it's the 28-3. I get that. And he had Kyle Shanahan also as his offensive coordinator, so he had a lot of help.
Had a younger Matt Ryan. Had Julio at his prime.
Brett, we got it. We have got to give him credit for what he did with Dallas's defense this year. They led the NFL in takeaways with 34. The yards per game allowed dropped from 386 in 2020 to 350 in 2021.
What was the total rank?
Opponent points per game, 28th to 8th.
Okay.
They were at least sort of middle of the pack, but they were bottom rung.
What was his total rank defense, though? We're going to get this hot and bothered over. I know it. 19.
But last year you're talking about 28-29.
That ain't 9. 19th.
But improvement. Huge improvement.
Okay, yeah, going in the right direction. But is that merit you getting right back in with a head coaching job? It didn't.
No, I don't. That's.
And he pulled one of the best ones today. That took his name out of the job running when it's not really out there in many places.
Well, he had a bunch of interviews. He interviewed with just about every opening there was. Vikings, Bears, Dolphins, all that.
Are they required to tweet out publicly who they're interviewing? So that's a rule. Because I was taken aback by everybody doing that. I was like, that has to be some kind of stipulation.
But
wasn't he known in the NFL? No. Why did he have to be?
Yes, he's had his opportunity, and he had a really good roster and really good assistants with the Falcons. So putting his name back into it, I tend to agree with you. But when you have a coach who improves one unit that needed that much improving, that was a 6-10 team turned to a 12-5 team, you got to give him some recognition. And I knew as soon
I give you the recognition of him.
As soon as I saw Trayvon Diggs get all these interceptions, that defense sort of improved. I knew
you sent me. We hadn't talked about it. You sent me one of the great texts.
I knew he'd get a bunch of interviews.
We were cracking on Trayvon Diggs, and you said, "My hips are better than his."
Oh yeah, his hips are. Oh my gosh, stiff as a board.
They are.
Yeah. You know what? I try to be nice when it comes to Trayvon Diggs because I know a lot of Cowboys fans in this market really like him, and he had a good year. 11 picks by the end of it. But damn,
Bryant's driving in right now, going, I don't even know those guys anymore.
Brett, he cannot cover. He just can't. He can't,
and he gambles.
He gambles too much. But if you're going to be a guy with stiff hips who's not very good at covering, you can't gamble as much as he does. And I know it helped him this year, but that could hurt him in the future. I mean, you're talking about a guy who got burnt in the Broncos game by Tim Patrick. Brandon Ayuk had his way with him in the wild card game.
He's a glorified Mo Clabe. He's a glorified Morris Claiborne.
And if we're
Boy,
being
that guy
honest,
sat by that day at the Cowboys
we
Rams
can
in
go-
St. Louis that all day just kept saying, Mo Clabe, Mo Clabe. I said, he can't cover anybody. What do you like so much about him?
and this may be an insane hot take, he ended up being on the All-Pro team, which for 11 picks, sure. But Darius Slay, the guy from the Eagles, easily over him. All day I'd take him. Because he travels over the field, guards the best receiver. Trayvon Diggs is never guarding necessarily the best receiver. He's guarding the guy to his side. Yeah, I know.
Bet you were at that game that day. Mo Clabe, like in 2014, 2015.
Section 333.
Cowboys Rams.
Section 333.
My good friend Barrett Jones left me a comp ticket at Will Call for me that day, playing for the Rams.
I was so excited when Barrett got drafted to the Rams.
Me too.
They needed help with O-line, too. And I thought,
his ankle
he
injury
can
his
move
senior
around.
year was devastating.
Well, and here's we always talk about guys who are really good in college, and like if they're a senior, you're like, oh, well, he has so much under his belt. That also gave him a lot of opportunity to get nicks and bruises and hurt along the way. Like a running back nowadays that ran the ball for 3 or 4 years in college, that shouldn't be that enticing to take him in the NFL draft anymore.
Well, and that physical Bama style, it's not just game day.
Oh, they
it
were
cuts
banging.
both ways. Tuesday and Wednesday gets you, too.
His day, they were banging heads, too. They were running the ball like crazy. Who was his? He had a couple running. He had
Trent Richardson and Eddie Lacy.
Eddie Lacy. He wasn't there for Mark Ingram then.
Yeah. In 09, Heisman Trophy year.
Okay.
That was his first year as a starter.
Okay, so Mark Ingram, Eddie Lacy. My gosh.
Yeah, how about that?
Memphis is still
had
RBU.
T.J. Yeldon in there in his Bama stretch.
Memphis is still RBU. Nah, I'm just kidding.
It's been good.
It's been good. It's a hell of a
It's been
stretch.
real good.
They were. And I think the difference with the Memphis situation with running backs, they were all on the same roster. Antonio Gibson, Tony Pollard, Darrell Henderson, all on the same roster. Patrick Taylor Jr., all.
And the common denominator, same as Gainwell, inside or take it to the house.
Yes.
80.
They need to get back to that as far as the run game is concerned. Now.
Well, you know I want to run the ball.
Yes, I know you do. Now, we have our championship games. We will make our picks tomorrow and really break those down. 49ers at Rams is a late one on Sunday, 5:30. Bengals at Chiefs is the 2 p.m. game. But we have to go ahead and get our top 4 NFL coaches ranked.
Easy or hard? One's easy.
One's easy. 2, 3 were hard. 4's easy.
2, 3 is really hard.
2, 3 was really hard for me. And it's like, and when you think head-to-head with 2 versus 3.
Well, that should matter, shouldn't it?
It should, but
totality
of
the
the resume, it's kind of tough. I guess I'll start 1, obviously, Andy Reid.
Ditto.
2, Sean McVay. And that's where you could go either way. Because
I went McVay, but over against Shanahan.
And then 3, Kyle Shanahan. 4, Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor, though, I mean, he's done a decent job, but I think that has to do with Joe Burrow in a lot of ways. But you're talking about Kyle Shanahan winning 5 straight against Sean McVay, and just in outmanning the Rams every time too. Sort of just demoralizing.
That's worth something.
Yes.
But totality, both have lost the Super Bowl. Both have been to 1. McVay lost to the
and the Kyle Shanahan choke factor.
To the Patriots. Shanahan lost to the Chiefs.
And the Patriots when he was an OC. But the choke factor for Kyle Shanahan always comes back to me. The 28-3, that's tough.
Blowout Sunday. Rams
and then
big.
almost the wild card round. They let the Cowboys just sort of sneak back in that thing when they shouldn't have. And I think Jimmy G had something to say about it, but
they did everything you could do to let a team back in.
And then also his Super Bowl, 49ers versus Chiefs. He blew it.
Garoppolo has to make one more throw that day. One more throw. They win that day.
Got out to a massive
Mahomes has 0.
I don't know if I think people would probably rebut that by saying, "Well, what about Sean McVay? Do you call him a choke artist?" I guess with his
Put up
Super
3.
Bowl, putting up 3 when he was the number 1 offense leading into that
11
Super Bowl,
more,
that's
he
tough.
wins.
But
you score 14, you win a Super Bowl.
Other than that, has he had a bunch of choke jobs in his
had a
career?
near one last Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's true. 27-3. Tom Brady just does it.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
What a guy. What a guy.
Well, Byron Leftwich did wonders with him, didn't he?
Oh, right. Yeah. He really, he made him. He made him. Byron Leftwich,
Who's the coach that gets the credit?
Tom Brady,
for Brady?
no talent at all. It's Bill.
It's Belichick.
His dad.
No question.
It's not Bill O'Brien. It's not Josh McDaniels.
Tom Sr. gets the credit. I love it. Tom Sr.'s a talker, by the way.
He
is a talker. He
has a weekly guest spot in Boston still to this day, I think.
He gives his opinion. The whole Bill Belichick thing, too, was kind of interesting when Tom Brady left for Tampa and Tom Sr. went on his weekly spot in Boston. He's like, he finally feels appreciated. Like, why are you doing that?
They all kiss and make up at the Hall of Fame, though. Yeah. That will be a happy ending.
All right. I need hot takes from both of you guys. Tom Brady retiring this offseason?
Yes. I predicted it on our New Year's predictions.
I'm going to say no just because I got a zag.
I'm going to say no.
No, then I got to zig and say yes.
Well, but he said yes.
Oh, now I'm stuck.
Maybe. Just say maybe.
Maybe.
There you go. There we go. Somewhere in the middle.
And I almost want him to just because I don't want it to end carted off in an ambulance.
Oh, he's made it this far without having that really happen.
But we know
he's had the ACL injury.
You know as much as anybody that next time out.
He also, though, like he does a really good job of avoiding major injury with how he steps up in the pocket and his pocket awareness.
And the way he takes sacks. He just crumbles to the ground like in place.
Gabe, what was the worst injury you ever saw out on the field that when it occurred, you thought, man, is this worth it to see somebody going through that? And you can leave names out if you need to.
Oh, gosh, yeah. One of my teammates who still deals with the repercussions of a very traumatic neck injury. He's gotten, right after it happened, and I think a lot of Memphis fans would know if they have been around and seen some of the injuries that have happened and been at the games, they would know who I'm talking about. But on a kickoff, just got walloped and broken neck, had spinal cord issues, never played again. And he's gotten most of his feeling back in his legs and his arms, still has some issues with nerve endings and everything else.
And the Tigers had
still
that
around,
injury.
still around in Memphis. And the University of Memphis, I'll say this, the University of Memphis was very, very classy. And
Is he in a wheelchair?
No, he's not. He's not. They were very good about getting him the care he needed and helping him out after his
Because Tigers had it in the 70s with Bill Crombie, and it was really sad.
Also in the Auburn game, I saw a torn ACL. That's never fun to see. And you know it immediately, too. Like, just the way a knee bends in that situation, it's tough to see.
Did you hear it?
No. I mean, it's loud in those stadiums. Even in Legion Field, believe it or not, it's kind of – there's people cheering. It's a little loud. But
big old Legion Field.
Can we say R.I.P. to Legion Field?
We can, and we need to.
I love
Are
Legion
they
Field.
going to play any more games in it?
USFL, maybe. They might play one or two.
Please don't. Play at the new place.
Were they the Stallions? Birmingham Stallions?
They were. They are.
They are. Mm-hmm. I believe all the games for the USFL this first year are being played in Birmingham as well.
At the new stadium. UAB's new, and it's very nice.
No, it is. It's nice. And it's a way smaller seating arrangement.
I will say it again.
30,000?
Even when Legion Field was the football capital of the South, it was a dump. It was never nice.
When was it built? Do you know that off the top? Or are we going to have to
right
look that
after
up
the
break?
War of 1812.
Hey, I wouldn't doubt you. We need to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk Tigers versus ECU, and we'll make our pick for our Tigers bankroll right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So we're going to use humor. But we don't want to insult your intelligence, so nothing too goofy. And we need to avoid any polarizing topics. Oh, and it has to be about how you can save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. You know what? Maybe humor is a bad idea. Yeah, it's never going to work. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped from our shipping kitchen, and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
General contractor, subcontractor, Zipcat can help you find workers for the jobs you're needing done. Contractors, just post your jobs on Zipcat for the price you want them done for. Subcontractors will find the jobs listed on Zipcat and offer to buy them. You both have 3 days to accept and approve the subcontracting job you bought. For the best tool in your toolbox, download the Zipcat app. Roofers, concrete, plumbers, HVAC, painters, download it free. Zipcat, Z-I-P-C-A-T. Z-I-P-C-A-T. That's Zipcat.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
We have a text on the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255, that says, guys, you have closed up shop way too soon on the Tigers. Well, they get to prove it tonight. They're 10-8. They play against ECU, who they lost to on a buzzer beater in ECU. And this is a game where Josh Minot says they're really trying to make a statement. And based on the line, 12.5, Tigers are favored by. I guess they could make that statement, but do they make that statement, Brett?
Close shop on at-large bid, we sure have. Close shop on going on a run at Dickies Arena at the AAC tournament. What have we seen since the 5-0 start in November to indicate that that kind of run can be replicated?
Well, facts have to change. That's the point I'm making. I mean, they have a chance to change my mind for the rest of the year on this whole thing. But they've given us no reason at this point to think that they're going to make some spectacular run down the stretch of the season to somehow save at-large hopes.
Bryant Dacus, he's going to wager that the minus 12.5, the Tigers, for 20. He is up 375. That's all that remains in his bankroll, 375.
So I'm not even last anymore.
No, you're not, Gabe. You are plus 520, or you're at 520 bankroll.
Okay, that's solid. So he's taking Tigers minus 12.5
for 20. What are you doing?
I mean, forgive me. That's a massive number. I don't doubt that the Tigers.
I told him. Don't worry. I told him.
I don't doubt that the Tigers can win the game. But you're talking about by 13? Come on. What? I'm taking ECU plus the 12.5 for 50.
ECU plus the 12.5 for 50. I'm going to amaze you. I have 750 in my bankroll. That means I've lost 250 for the year. We all started with 1,000. Tigers minus 12.5 for 250 to get me back whole to the bankroll.
Being down that much sort of explains how the Tiger season has gone.
It really does. And Tigers have been lusty favorites almost every game.
We have a text from Nick Mancini via YouTube. He says, my friend Trevor is betting his mortgage on plus 12.5 tonight. Tigers about to prove him wrong.
I would not advise that.
Not the mortgage.
Except the Tennessee
well, I guess it depends how many mortgage payments you are set to pay in a row. Do you have enough to pay like several in a row? But if you only have enough for this month's mortgage payment and you're wagering it, be careful now. Hey, by the way, do they have a mortgage button on like FanDuel and stuff where you can just click it and bet the mortgage?
Just ties right into the mortgage company. They should. It's a good idea.
They have a direct line to the blood bank.
That would be. Do you think that's a good idea, Brett?
Well,
yeah, fair idea, right? I mean, it's not.
Maybe not such a good idea.
All right, we've made.
This is a team we had going to the Final Four, and we're scared of 12.5 against ECU in late January.
We will see if they can change our minds tonight versus ECU. Now, last night, Arkansas, Ole Miss. Ole Miss was in it for a while. 64-55 was the final score. Arkansas wins. Ole Miss has no shot to win SEC games when they shoot that badly. I mean, just truthfully.
Not many teams do, and now they have Kansas State on Saturday. Arkansas, they have West Virginia. Arkansas can really dress up that net with a lot of home games. West Virginia, non-conference in the SEC Big 12 Challenge, and they have Auburn at home, Tennessee at home, Kentucky at home. Arkansas's net today is 48, 3 spots behind Florida at 45, Mississippi State at 41. The 6th SEC bid will get sorted out from those 3, Mississippi State, Florida, and Arkansas, and maybe Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. A&M, they played LSU down to the wire last night. They stuck in there.
They did. Inspired win for LSU at home. A&M 53 at the net, and then it falls way off. The 10th spot in the SEC is Vandy with a 90 net. The 10th spot in the AAC is Tulsa with a 199.
As far as Ole Miss, Arkansas, what I saw last night, Deshaun Ruffin has to be the catalyst, and without Joyner, you can't go 2 for 11 with 0 assists as the main ball handler. You just can't. And also from Arkansas, J.D. Notae might be the most elite shot taker. I'm not saying shot maker, shot taker in the country.
Scared.
23 field goals, just a ho-hum, random night. SEC play against Ole Miss, 23.
Yeah,
he takes.
And he's going to have to make some shots. It's been a real grind for them on offense. The ball handling, I don't think, is great for Arkansas. It's not anywhere near the team of last year, and it's not just the absence of Moses Moody, but Eric Musselman coaching hard with it. That shoulder, I mean, he looks like he's hurting.
I respect, well, not only Eric Musselman for pushing through that, but I also respect shot takers. If you can be an elite shot taker, I respect you. Some of the ones in the Kobe Bryant was an elite shot taker. And nowadays, I watched Jordan Clarkson last night. That's an elite shot taker right there.
Elite shot maker, too.
Taker.
But they got to go in, or you got to quit taking
night to night. I mean, night to night. Come on. He doesn't make all of them.
Tonight in the net, 78 Memphis against 167 ECU.
If you win by 30, do you not drop? Is that the only way? Or are you still dropping, even if you win by 30? You have no chance to move up?
I don't think.
Yeah, doesn't seem that way. That'll do it for hour number 2. We come back for hour number 3. We'll kick it off with Todd Lebo from WHB 810 Kansas City on the AFC Championship game. We'll talk some Chiefs. We'll talk some NFL. 5:30, we get to what's trending. 5:45, we get out and wrap up this Thursday edition of Sports Time with Gabe and Stats with Taco Bell Crunch Time. You're listening to Gabe and Stats on Sports 56 98.5.
often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Tire pressure light on? Tread low? Car sliding when you stop? It's time to go down to Milton on the Spot. Serving you at 3 locations, 1684 Getwell Road, 2127 Ellis Presley, and 3691 North Watkins. Memphis' largest supply of new and used tires, all under warranty. Yes, that's warranty on used tires too. Ask about the tire rotation and balance specials. Milton on the Spot on Getwell Road, Elvis Presley, or North Watkins. Here to take care of your every tire need. Milton on the Spot.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Todd Lebo will join us from Championship City in Kansas City, where the Chiefs, for the 4th straight year, will host the AFC Championship game on Sunday afternoon, and will try again to win the trophy named after their owner, their founder, Lamar Hunt. Todd Lebo coming up after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's our friends at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road, and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. All the cars test driven, all checked out thoroughly, bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find that special car just for you. You'll be treated like family at DeSoto Auto Sales by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. They care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive a car, find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed, you're out of there in time to watch ball tonight, in time for dinner, or do it over your busy lunch hour at DeSoto Auto Sales. They know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they keep it simple for you, the customer, at DeSoto Auto Sales. Online at DeSotoAutoSales.com, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know, love, and trust at DeSoto Auto Sales.
We bring in our man from 810 WHB in Kansas City, Todd Lebo, at Leobonics on Twitter. Todd, how are you?
Can you breathe?
Yeah, boy, I'm telling you.
How about that game?
It's been a crazy several years in Kansas City, but that was not much crazier than what we saw for about 20 minutes on Sunday night. That was a wild, wild ride for sure.
All-timer, Todd. I mean, how many times, first of all, almost impossible to go to bed. I would imagine you had some post-game responsibilities to go to bed that night, and then every time you wake up, did that really happen? And how many nights did you have that feeling that every morning you wake up, did they really win that game?
I'm sure I slept better than Sean McDermott, the Bills coach.
Oh, God.
I mean, you know, not squib kicking it, allowing the plays that happen in that last 13 seconds. But, yeah, there's certainly that craziness, you know, and, you know, it's a little bit weird now in the COVID times. Post-game used to be, you know, down in the locker room and running around. And so it's kind of weird. You sit there and the game's over. You don't get on the elevator. You don't go downstairs. You just sit there, watch them celebrate on the field. You put your earphones in and you get on the Zoom and you wait. I mean, it's so weird covering these things compared to what it used to be. But it was the people who were there will never forget it. And I tell people all the time it's fun to cover the games, but it's nowhere near as fun as being at the game as a fan. Like for the people who I try to kind of liken it to, especially at Arrowhead, the press box is very high. We're the 9th floor, so it's above every seat in the stadium. It used to be down in the middle, but then they sold those suites to fancy people.
Yeah,
and they went
prime
redid
real
the
estate.
stadium. Yeah, they redid the stadium. They put us at the top, and the windows don't open, so you don't hear it as much as you could hear it before, and you know, kind of all that bit. It was a little bit like I don't know, like being in a drone or a helicopter hovering a little bit above a hurricane. You know, you saw all the swirling, the craziness, and the fans down there, but you knew you weren't in it, and you know. It's a bird's eye view from up there, but it was insane, thrilling, and I saw some stat. I think there's been Patrick Mahomes is now 3-1 in postseason games. At one point, they had a less than a 5% chance of winning, and the rest of the league over that time is like 1-38. You know, so he's the guy, or Andy Reid is the coach. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, whatever, all of them. You know, they came back and they won that game. They were down 24-0 to the Texans a few years ago and won that game. The Super Bowl, heck, they were down 10 points in the Super Bowl in the fourth quarter and won that one. It's wild. It's never over with them for sure, ever.
Todd, the thing that I knew was going to, as soon as that game went into overtime, I knew that the first team was going to score, whoever won the coin toss, and we were going to have the overarching topic on Monday was going to be about overtime rules. At this point, where do you stand on that? Is it just sort of tough luck if you lose the coin toss, or do you think that there is a change that needs to be made?
The closest game I've been to and covered that was like this game was the AFC Championship game in 2018, when it's very similar. Patriots, Chiefs, Patriots scored, Chiefs scored, Patriots scored, Chiefs kicked a field goal, they lost the toss, Patriots went down and scored. And the Chiefs actually
tried to
submitted
change
a rule change. And, Monday we're talking to Coach Reid, and he's like, I still kind of feel the way I do. He felt bad for Sean McDermott, who's a former assistant of his. He's happy the rule is what it was now, because he certainly didn't want to throw that defense back out there and have them lose. But I personally, my feeling, I think college is a little too crazy, but I don't see any reason why each team can't get the ball once. It just doesn't seem that hard to me. I don't care what they do in the regular season. If you want to play the way they're playing the regular season, that's fine. But in the postseason, and there's nothing wrong with having different rules in the postseason. They have different rules in the postseason of baseball now, the way they're doing, overtime or extra innings. They had different rules in hockey forever. They don't play 17 overtime games in hockey. They do it in the postseason, though. You're not getting eliminated in sudden death in a 5-minute overtime period there. So they have different rules already in the postseason, because the thing had a 15-minute clock, not a 10-minute clock. I don't know why you can't give both teams a chance. I would have loved to have seen Josh Allen get the ball and go try to score, and then you're going for all the fourth downs. Then you're doing all that, right? Which that was the mode they were in anyway. I think it's only fair, but it is what it is, and the Chiefs will take it this week for sure. They're happy they got that coin toss, and the crazy thing is that Josh Allen was the one who called it. I mean, he was out there at the beginning of the game too. They lost that toss. Chiefs deferred, and then he lost that toss. And apparently he was 9-0 before that, and then he lost 2 of them Sunday.
How do you come off cloud 99 and get ready for the Bengals and get ready for I think the easiest answer would be you come off that and get ready to go to a Super Bowl. But human nature being what it is for both players and fans, that was walking on the moon Sunday.
Sure it was. But the Chiefs are good at this, right? I mean, they've had to do this a few times now. And the thing that will focus them intently is the fact that they got beat by the Bengals 3 weeks ago. That was January 2nd. That was this year. Wasn't even 2021. So they lost to them this year. So that will get their focus in a hurry for sure. And we'll see if they can get that done. I know they'll be focused. I mean, one of the good things for teams, I think, about COVID times is they don't have to deal with us. Normally what would happen on a time like this, on the Wednesday, the league would come in and they'd say, you get to talk to the coach and everyone at the podium, but everyone else would be in the locker room. They'd all be getting asked questions. Now, if you're not sitting at the podium, you ain't talking to anybody, right? So, here's 4 minutes out of your day to go up here and stand and get answered a couple questions with a bunch of people sitting at their offices on Zoom. I think it's a little bit easier for them to concentrate that way, which is probably good, but that's the same for both teams. They're not dealing with those distractions. And the Chiefs are used to this at this point. I mean, it's their fourth straight AFC Championship game. They haven't played, with the exception of the Super Bowl, they haven't played a playoff game away from Arrowhead Stadium since 2015. They lost at New England because then they lost at home in 16 to the Steelers. They lost to the Titans in 17, and then they've been home field since then. So it's been good for them. They're used to it. They're in a mode, I guess.
How much do you take from that Week 17 game? It was in Cincinnati. The Chiefs had 10 penalties, I believe, 6 that led to first downs for the Bengals. How much can you actually take from how that game played out?
Well, I think you take that Jamar Chase is a stud, right? Mm-hmm. And they probably got to figure a different way to play him. Chiefs made a lot of mistakes in that game. There was a 3rd and 27 where they all out blitzed, and they completed a pass to Chase that ended up being the thing that allowed them to run the clock out at the end. They continued to go for 4th downs and all this bit, and they bled the whole clock out. So the Chiefs never got the ball back. And the reason that Zach Taylor didn't want the Chiefs to get the ball back is because what you just saw Sunday night. 13 seconds is plenty of time. But the Chiefs had a lot of penalties. They did not turn the ball over in the game. I thought Patrick Mahomes threw 2 awful passes in that game. It should have been picked off, but they weren't. And the amazing thing I think that we've seen, especially down the stretch here from Joe Burrow, is, he got sacked 9 times last week, right? He got sacked 9 times, never turned the ball over. So there was no strip sack. There was no, oh my gosh, I got to get rid of the ball. It gets tipped up in the air. Didn't turn it over. He did not turn the ball over in their opening game where he got sacked a few times and hit like 8 or something like that. That Chiefs game, they sacked him 4 times, hit him 10 times. He didn't turn the ball over. They're going to need to get him to turn the ball over to make this thing easier. Because I think when we talked last week, I was like, if the Chiefs are even in turnovers, they should win this Bills game. It still took a miracle to do it. I think the Bills roster is better than the Bengals roster. I think the best 2 teams in football probably just played last Sunday at Arrowhead. But the Bengals, they're too young. They don't know what they don't know, right? They didn't care about the Chiefs 3 weeks ago. They needed that game to win the AFC North, and they won it. They beat the big bad wolf that day.
Yeah. Pressure's on KC.
Yeah, can they come to Kansas City and beat the big bad wolf? I don't know. That's a tougher deal.
First time to ever meet in the playoffs for Kansas City and Cincinnati. Cincinnati leads the all-time series 16-14. That's not many games played for 2 teams that have been around as long as both of these teams.
Yeah, it is weird. Like when especially back, it's pretty routine now the way it works. You're going to play everyone in the other division every 4th year. But it wasn't always the case back in the day.
Yeah.
And so there were years, a lot of times they would go a stretch without playing the Bengals. And it's weird. They haven't played them a lot at home. None of these guys, I don't think I guess they played them in 18 at home, but the Bengals have turned their roster over big time since then. But yeah, it's a weird this isn't some traditional rivalry. We've seen a lot of Chiefs and Bills games in the postseason and over the years, but we haven't, the Bengals didn't go to the playoffs a lot and the Chiefs didn't either for quite a while. Mm-hmm. So if neither one of you goes to the playoffs and wins a game, it's hard to meet at some point.
Yeah, it leaves only Jacksonville as a current AFC team. Kansas City's never met in a Super Bowl. With a win, it could be San Francisco again, whom Kansas City played on Super Bowl Sunday, Tampa Bay last year, Minnesota way back in Green Bay in Super Bowl I. So it could be some new faces if you're getting the Bengals this week, and you could run into the Rams in the Super Bowl with the Rams team playing at home.
Yeah, and that was the kind of sad part for Chiefs fans. Well, last year it was bad because, not as many people could go, blah, 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 all that stuff. But they played in Tampa. They were the first team ever to have to play a Super Bowl on the road, theoretically, and this would be the same thing this year. Now, the good news is people in LA don't seem to care about anything. So if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl and the Rams make the Super Bowl, there will be plenty of red in the stadium.
Yeah.
They'll find their way. It's taken a little while for the Rams to – I mean, people like to go to the stadium out there. They want to be there. They want to be seen. That's what, LA is all about. But the Chiefs have played the Chargers out there. Last year there were no fans, but this year it's like a Chiefs game.
So,
I mean, people go crazy out there for that. The Chargers really don't have fans. And the Rams, I mean, they haven't taken the city by storm yet, even though they made the Super Bowl once. But we'll see what happens. There's a lot to go there. The Rams just don't match up well with the Niners. They beat them 6 times in a row or whatever. And despite the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is not very good, he may be going to his second Super Bowl.
But the substantially better matchup for the Chiefs would be the 49ers, correct?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. And now, the defensively, I think the Niners are much better all-around defense. The Rams have some nice defensive players. Von Miller, the Chiefs are very familiar with. But, just as a whole, I don't think the Rams' defense is quite as good. We kind of really thought we were going to have a Chiefs-Rams Super Bowl in 2018, which would have been a rematch of an insane game. You remember that Monday night game that was 55-51 or whatever, and it turned out Chiefs lost to the Patriots, and we wouldn't have had a 13-3 game. We'd have had another 40-something game. Would have been a little more fun for people
that
to
was
watch.
a wild game. That was at the Coliseum, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be in Mexico City, but the field in Mexico City had gotten damaged by some concert before, and so they ended up moving the thing to the Coliseum with 4 days in advance, and it was a wild affair. So, yeah, we never got to see that rematch. Instead, the people in Kansas City didn't watch it, but the Patriots won 13-3.
So
they were soured on the Super Bowl that year. They didn't tune in, I don't think.
So generally speaking, with the Chiefs, you're not worried about offensive production. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Travis Kelce, you have Tyreek Hill, you have all you need. Defensively, it's usually when Steve Spagnuolo sort of turns up the intensity, gets his units going. But I look at this situation going into this week, not having Tyrann Mathieu, and he seems to be sort of the vocal leader for that defense. How concerning is it for that defense if he's not able to go because of a concussion?
Well, I think he'll be able to go. He's trending towards it. He was on the practice field today. He's not officially out of concussion protocol because you have to go through a day of practice.
Yep.
I expect him to be out tomorrow, and he will be playing, I think. But it's funny. Today we're on the conference calls or the Zooms, and L'Jarius Sneed, who's had a really nice year, had a rough couple of plays in that game. And, we asked him about what it was like to not have Tyrann out there because, Tyrann has always given him instructions and stuff like that. He said, it's next man up, next man up. But then in the same breath says, yeah, he's always telling us what to do. Well, if he's not there, I mean, it's pretty obvious. That final play with 17 seconds to go, no one was lined up. And, Gabriel Davis ran right over the middle and scored a touchdown. So they had some issues communication-wise. But listen, Tyrann Mathieu played the full game when Jamar Chase had 200 yards against him. Right? So there's two sides of that thing. They would have been better off having him, because you need that guy out there to line you up as much as anything. There were a lot of breakdowns in that defensive backfield. But, what you don't know, there's been all this conversation, for the past 2 weeks, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, the two best quarterbacks, blah, 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 and all this stuff every time the Chiefs play the Chargers. Oh, Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, and then Lamar Jackson's won an MVP. I'm going to tell you something. If Joe Burrow walks up into Arrowhead Stadium and goes to the Super Bowl through Arrowhead Stadium, you best put him on that list.
Yep.
Because that would be a feat
No
of
question.
feet.
He's cold-blooded,
to go
too.
into this place, because it's going to be wild, and to win a game against a team who's been to – this is their fourth one of them. And he's not going to be freaked out because he's Joe Cool. There's no question about that. But this is also Zach Taylor's first, huge championship game. And he admitted last week that so many times they were calling timeouts against the Titans. They couldn't get plays in. They weren't communicating. This will be big for Zach Taylor as well, because he's not a guy with a ton of experience. I mean, Burrow's obviously played in huge games at LSU and everything, but when you play in college, you're pretty much better than the other team by about $1 billion when you're playing at LSU, except for the second you got to play Alabama or something like that. It's a different deal here. I was very impressed with him against the Chiefs early in the year. I expect this is going to be a similar kind of game. And if no one turns it over, I expect it to come down to the very, very end. This crew they have calling it is not a big penalty crew. So hopefully we won't see all those penalties that got called in that first Bengals game. The best thing I think about the game Sunday night was there was, I think, 4 penalties called. It was fun. I mean, you weren't waiting for replays and looking at penalties and having discussions. They were playing football, and I hope we get that kind of game. And I hope it's not marred by some, there was into that Bengals game in Cincinnati, there were 2 or 3 calls down the stretch that ended up extending drives or that's how it ended up ending. There was a, illegal contact or whatever in the end zone, and the Bengals ended up getting a kick field goal. So I hope we get a clean game and get to watch some fun football because, man, there's some studs on this field. You talk about those quarterbacks and these wide receivers, running backs. I mean, it's really high-level guys playing in this game, mostly on offense, which should be a lot of fun to see. Hope we'll see some points.
No question. I'm looking forward to 2 p.m. on Sunday. Todd, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us again.
Anytime. And call me next week if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl.
We will, Todd.
We will. Absolutely.
Thank you. We appreciate your time so much. Thank you, Todd.
All right, guys.
You got it. Todd Lebo with us from Kansas City. We know they are fired up, and we're fired up here in Memphis. And I went to the commissary today at Collierville, Houston, Levy, and Poplar, and it's why I've been a little bit drowsy all afternoon because I had so much to eat. And I started the meal with tamales. Please, everyone, do that and have a little more restraint than I did. But I did save room for dessert. Everything I say every time I talk about the commissary, I promise you I did today. I had the great barbecue. I had the tamales to start off, and I saved room for dessert. And I had that lemon icebox pie. It was so good to see Walker, and it was so good to see it crowded and bustling and happening again. And Walker wanted me to express to everyone, thank you. We know, everybody knows what we've been through the last 2 years to stay in business, to heck, just to go out and eat, whether you're getting it curbside to go or you're getting it, if you're getting it when you crave an easier way to order through texting commissary to 33733. And he appreciates everybody. It's been a trying 2 years. We've made it through it, and great times and great days are ahead. At both places, at the new Collierville Commissary, I say new, almost 4 years old now, at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown that still feels like new, but it's been a mainstay since 1981, that Memphis-style barbecue. So good. I had the sandwich today. The ribs look great. I saw other tables having that. The barbecue shoulder, so good. The appetizers, the cheese plate, the tamales that I had, the barbecue nachos, also good. Smoked chicken wings, and those desserts like the lemon icebox pie and the banana pudding. So very good. Don't forget the party packs like the 6-pack or the 8-pack or the 12-pack. All the fixings come with that. 901-754-5540. Online at commissarybbq.com. Again, you can text commissary to 33733. Start thinking about Super Bowl game watching parties and let the commissary do all the work and let them be the hit of the party. 901-754-5540. Online at commissarybbq.com.
We get to a break. When we come back, we talk about what's trending in the world of sports. Stick around right here on Sports 56 98.5.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
I'm with John Virgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Brett, things in the restaurant are fine, but like all restaurateurs will tell you, things are still not back to normal. Supply chains are interrupted. 1 week we can't find charcoal. Another week we're short on ribs. Another week they can't find the plastic bottles to fill our sauce jars with. I've watched in awe as our fellow Memphis restaurateurs have worked their way through these past months.
John, always new and exciting things at the Rendezvous.
People know we have Greek salad, vegetarian red beans and rice, and vegetarian nachos. But now we have desserts. Miss Barbara of O Taste and See has individually wrapped some wonderful desserts. We have key lime pie, chess pie, chocolate chess pie, and pecan pie. Not pecan pie, pecan pie. We also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Virgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis. It's a new year. That means it's time for a floor model sale at Family Leisure. You can help Family Leisure make room for all the new 2022 products that are coming in. All floor models are priced to move right now. If it's on the floor, it's on sale. But you better hurry to get these special savings because once these floor models are gone, folks, they're gone. We're talking theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball and hockey tables, all on sale. Shuffleboard tables, pool tables, they're on sale too. Plus, there's so much more on sale. And you can get New Year's deals on spas and swimming pools as well. Family Leisure needs the room for new inventory. So what's here has got to go. You can help them. The floor model sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Happy New Year from our good friends at Family Leisure.
It's free furnace time. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? January is our slowest month of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these cold winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system in the month of January and get a gas furnace absolutely free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, a 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat. That's up to $2,000 in savings. Plus, get your new system for as low as $139 per month or 12 months interest-free. Now, you can do that. And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike is where you'll find the most bang for your buck. Take your pick with adventure-ready 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport or highest safety-rated 2022 Eclipse Cross. Ready to ride at $349 a month. And this is not a lease. You own it. Want 31 mpg highway in your SUV? We Gossett with 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. Now $398 a month. Plus, at Gossett Mitsubishi, you always get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So for our best deal, look no further than Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months at 2.9 APR, 3,000 down, 500 loyalty rebate, 500 military rebate. Sport NU 001422, MSRP 27010. Cross NZO 49092, MSRP 27000. Outlander NZO 53093, MSRP 29615. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2022. Dealer stock only.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
We have a news drop from Jason Munz, of course, the commercial appeals beat writer for Tigers basketball, joins us every Friday, and tomorrow will be no exception. He'll join us tomorrow. But Jalen Duren, it's looking like he is unlikely to play tonight. Doubtful is the term I've heard used. I guess there's some hope he could dress out tonight, but it looks like he will not. But also on the same day, he's getting an NIL deal with it looks like Candy Digital. He'll have an NFT.
Love that.
So a non-fungible token that will release next month through Candy Digital. Is he? I'm kind of scared to ask the question, Brett. And you brought it up briefly yesterday. I'm kind of scared. Is he sort of checking out to a certain extent, or
it's a concern.
Or are we going to see him return at some point?
It's
soon?
a concern for everyone out there. It's a lot of speculation. And look, We saw it down the stretch of the year at LSU for Ben Simmons.
Yes, we did. And Jalen Duren's going to be a lottery pick. I mean,
he is.
It's a fact. And opting out, say he didn't play the rest of the year, I don't think that would change anything. And dealing with all this NIL money and trying to work through this season that hasn't gone to plan, you just sort of wonder. I'm not saying that he is. I've heard other people sort of speculate on this and say they think he's headed on his way to sort of checking out for the rest of the season. I'm not in any way ready to speculate fully on that, but
James Wiseman did it. When
the murmurs are there.
Clarence.
The murmurs are there, though, Brett. The talk is there. The conversations are being had.
And the only way to debunk it, refute it, is to play.
That's
with every passing game, there's more speculation.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a hand injury, correct, Brian? We're talking about a hand injury where he had a cut on his hand from whatever reason, for whatever reason. Again, not going to speculate where that came from. Probably not from a great spot, though.
No.
We will see. We'll keep an eye on it. But those whispers are starting to get a little louder.
The drama never goes away, does it?
No. It's this season from start to finish.
It's going to be the best 30 for 30.
It could be. What was it? What was there was an ESPN.
The harder way.
Yeah, the harder way.
This is the harder way.
But from start to finish, there has not been a week without some form of drama. Last week it was Rasheed Wallace. This week you have Jalen Duren, all the people talking about him ever returning. Will he return to be a Memphis Tiger at some point?
Well, remember, even the Lemoyne, Owen, and Lane College games, players that didn't play, people were worried about eligibility then, which proved to not be accurate.
Yes, but it has been tough to follow all of the drama and then talk about all of the drama because there's so much of it. It's just been a never-ending saga this year.
Really, starting with James Wiseman, it's been a lot of drama. The first year was not that much. The first year was so new.
Last year, I think, for the most part, I mean, and I think if you compare anything to this year, it's never going to measure up. This year was just, and with James Wiseman, it was just the IARP case, and then after that, you weren't really, and that's a big situation. I'm not going to say that doesn't measure up, but this year, week after week after week after week after week, and the IARP case still this year is hanging over their head, and we finally have someone get one case out of the IARP ruled upon, so you don't know if Memphis's case is going to be settled at some point this year. It's still there, right? Plus everything else going
Tennessee
on.
game.
Yes, Tennessee, COVID, Amani Bates,
the lack of
with
candor
the struggle,
around the vaccinations,
losing streaks. I mean, it's been a tough go.
Taking its toll.
Yeah. You never know when it can turn around, though. They have a chance to do it tonight,
and
8 p.m. versus ECU.
I don't want a plug-and-play game between now and next Thursday night at Cincinnati. I think it needs to be practice and Camp Penny and everybody hunker down.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say this, too? At this point, a win, I guess, could help you. If you're talking about a quad 1, maybe quad 2 win, it could help you. But losing that game is going to just do irreparable damage to any possibility you thought was out there. I don't think they need to add any games at this point.
And especially just who they have out, what they've been dealing with. I think you just need to focus on conference. Don't add another game. Get healthy before the conference tournament, and then work on winning that.
Win your home games.
Try to get in the top 4 for Dickies Arena.
Win your home games and try to handle yourself leading into the AAC tournament. I think that's your last hope.
Mm-hmm.
If you want,
I know how
tournament aspirations will be figured out at the AAC tournament.
Oh yeah.
So this summer, Land's 5-star, Land's number top 5 player in the country. Of course, we're going to treat it with the news worthiness and value of that. But I don't know that Penny ever has another summer of love like he had last year.
I'm going to push back on that just a tad bit. I don't think we react near what we have reacted like to this point.
You think we're desensitized to it?
I think there's
Ho-hum, number 1, Shelby.
100%. They're 10-8 right now with how many 5-star? 2 5-stars, 2 top 5 players in a class on the same.
And when I said earlier, he's done a lot of things very well. He's done a lot of right things in his tenure as head coach of the University of Memphis. But the most important is winning on the floor. or none of the rest of that means anything.
Winning in recruiting is a big part of college basketball.
You can have every suite, every skybox, every ticket between the inline sold, and eventually, if you don't win, that turns off.
I'm not going to deny winning in recruiting means a lot. Of course it does.
But you don't hang any banners for that.
But also, how much damage do you do to your to your recruiting if you're bringing in 5 stars and they're not necessarily getting the development that they need? I mean, that's concerning in itself. So, Jalen Durr not playing tonight. Landon Nolly not playing tonight. Are there any other injuries I'm missing before I
DeAndre
move
and Jaden.
on? DeAndre, well, those are obvious ones. Yeah.
When is the expected return of
When is
Nolly?
DeAndre going to be back on the
It's a
floor?
great question. That back's really, he's really dealing with it.
I mean, he's been in college for 6 years.
Oh, yeah, he's an old man.
6 years. I mean, he's 25 years old. And the way he plays, tries to be springy, gets on the ground a lot.
And a week ago tonight was the post-game fireworks. Bryant, you be in that post-game presser tonight, okay?
I will.
Don't miss that again.
I'm not.
You can't make that. If you're Penny Hardaway, you can't make that same mistake twice, though. Line of questioning at this point, if you get anything similar, you say, next question, that was dumb. And you don't even have to be nice about it. That's the thing that I don't. You could say next question and be very political about it, but I don't think Penny Hardaway needed to be nice about that line of questioning. He could have said that is a dumb question next. He didn't have to go F-bomb, F-bomb, F-bomb for a minute.
What if somebody
seconds.
else went in there tonight after a close win over a really bad team and tried to provoke?
Dare I say, I think that given the sound bite, if I know some media members correctly, if I know what I'm looking at and how I view it, I would say that there will be provocative questions for the rest of the year, Brett. You saw a heck of a story come out of Memphis because of that.
Do you think anybody really wants to take Penny Hardaway down?
I don't view it that way. But when you're a journalist and you're going in there, you're trying to prod at times to get questions answered, and you're trying to get a quote, and you're trying to talk about it on your radio show the next day.
And that one was, and he accomplished his goal.
I'm curious. Well, that's a good point, Brett. We're gonna have to see how that presser's handled tonight.
I don't think anybody wants to see a tearful resignation, firing.
No.
Penny being embarrassed. Do you?
No, but after that response, I can tell you the tides have turned from a media perspective. Because me and you feel this way. I know you feel this way, and I know a lot of people in the media feel this way. There's been some tongue holding for 3.5, 4 years about the way things have gone.
It has been.
And for Penny to sort of put it all on the media
Nobody
and say
else
the media treats just say the media treats him unfairly. You can see the tides turning in that regard. But you see the tides turning. Like, you see the fact that now he has put blame onto the media.
The day after a 40-point loss at Tulsa and kind of said ho hum. I would have never done that for anybody else.
You know this too. Media members can be emotional about what is said about them. It happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know I can't really get everyone's full feel on how they feel about Penny Hardaway in the media, but it's definitely it's a changed outlook, and I think you'd be there with me.
And if you are the guy, do you want that out there that you were the takedown artist of Penny Hardaway at Memphis? Is that something you're proud of? That you would be proud of?
Some people could be. I mean, Brett,
we're not talking about taking down Les Miles.
I want to hear your response to that question. I think there are people that would take, to a certain extent, some pride in that.
I don't know. I hope not.
I hope not, but I feel like I know better. There are media members and journalists out there that will kick you while you're down.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what we've seen in the past.
There was only one or two that were really after Larry Finch.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Finch had won a lot more and had coached longer.
And the you want to talk about Tubby Smith, Brett. That was
get in line. I mean,
that
the line was short for the ones that didn't want to take him down, and I was in that.
That
line.
was. You talk about takedowns
from day one.
They were
out to get him.
That is proof
They
of
got
a
him.
full. I mean, people took pride in that too.
Sure did.
I know people
sure
that are
did.
very happy with their work in taking Tubby
and
Smith
part of the
out of that. Yeah.
And now they've turned on each other.
Yes. Now, we'll see the Tigers. We will be in the building tonight, Brett and I, 8 p.m. for Tigers ECU. We've already made our picks. But in the NFL, I promised this talk, and I think there's some interesting points to make with Broncos. The Denver Broncos hiring Nathaniel Hackett, who, of course, is the Packers' offensive coordinator. And the one thing you say immediately, that's the Packers' offensive coordinator. That's who was coaching Aaron Rodgers last year. And he's a guy who had the Jaguars a game away from the Super Bowl with Blake Bortles. And his offense wasn't great, but he somehow got it done with Blake Bortles, did enough to get them in that position to play the Patriots.
And Leonard Fournette.
But the question immediately comes to Aaron Rodgers was rumored to the Broncos before the year. Mark Schlereth was reporting via Twitter that the deal was done.
Yeah, it was real close.
And you look at the Broncos, sixth most cap space heading into 2022, $41 million. $41 million. And with that rumor, with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers both being California guys, heading back out to the West Coast, is it far-fetched to put this out there in the world? Because I've seen everybody do it.
Well,
so
kind
far
of
today.
West Coast, Mountain West time. Yeah.
Well, but it's closer.
Yeah.
It's closer than Green Bay.
Yeah, it's out of Green Bay.
Yeah, I was saying Lambeau versus out there on the West Coast
And I
in the
think
Rose
it's gonna
Bowl or
happen
something.
fast.
That's a complete.
This is not a summertime story. This is in the next 6 week story.
Do you think it's far-fetched at this moment?
I don't. Remember, another New Year's prediction. You said he wouldn't. I said he would.
I'm changing my tune has changed a little bit. I'm still not.
Aaron out.
I thought
Gone.
I had a
Gone
feeling.
as a Packer.
I had a feeling he would stay in Green Bay, but that loss weighs on him. There's no question about it. We're gonna go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time to put a wrap on this edition of Sports Time with Gabe and Stats with Taco Bell Crunch Time right here on Sports 56 98.5.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
So we all know you can get everything you need at a grocery store, but why would you pay more for lesser quality meat? At Louis Deli and Meat Market in Arlington, you're not only going to see the quality in their meats, but you will literally taste the quality in every single bite. Plus, more than likely, pay less. And that's really important nowadays. Got to get together? Fire up that grill with their handmade garlic sausages or jalapeno and cheddar bratwurst. Or how about a hand-cut bacon wrap filet or top sirloin? The absolute best. Or if you want to know how to improve your outdoor grilling, pick up some of Louis' fresh ground beef or maybe their hand-cut ribeye or New York strip. Louis has literally everything for your grill, from barbecue rubs, sauces, charcoal, and so much more. And Louis Deli and Meat Market only carries the finest deli meats and 19 cheeses. And I guarantee you they make the best deli sandwiches in the area. So visit Louis Deli and Meat Market, located in Arlington at 11695 Highway 70, just north of a mile east of Highway 385. Is locally and veteran-owned. Is Louis Deli and Meat Market. It's the quality you can see and taste.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles, ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
It's a brand new year.
And yet still here you are.
And now I'm not saying that you should make New Year's resolutions.
But if you did, they should all have something to do with Central Barbecue, right?
You think I'm so predictable?
That's because you are.
I could have been about to say anything.
As long as anything by me telling people to go to Central Barbecue.
Well, yeah.
See, predictable. Still, we do love us some Central Barbecue.
Exactly. So people should resolve to spend plenty of time at one of the 4 locations of Central Barbecue this year.
You know what? You're right.
And you said I was predictable.
I knew you were going to say that.
Hey, you're not Pete.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Well, it started
out.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye!
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
What I learned today, Brett, is that the likelihood of Ja Morant being the second All-Star starter in the Western Conference is relatively high. He finished second behind Steph Curry among Western Conference backcourt members, and this means so much to the franchise, to Ja Morant himself, to where this franchise can go.
The branding.
And you talk about the one All-Star starter that the Memphis Grizzlies have ever had, Marc Gasol. And Marc Gasol did a lot for the Grizzlies over his years. The Grit and Grind era was fantastic, but he was 30 years old. Ja Morant's 22. And you still have a guy who can develop in Jaren Jackson Jr., who's 22. So there's so much to look forward to with this Grizzlies franchise, and I think a lot of people hope it comes to fruition.
One of these days we could see those two in an all-star game with Taylor Jenkins coaching it. How about that?
That'll be something.
Learn today, unless we are in this position or worse 1 year from now, the U of M is not going to fire Penny Hardaway for any reason. As I said earlier, so far it's been 4 years of not much. NCAA investigation, celebrated blow-ups, and they haven't said a peep. Hadn't said a peep since a week ago's blow-up, officially from the administration or from Laird. The idea of having to fire your 2 biggest legends, I can't find another place that's ever done it. To do this to Larry Finch and to Penny Hardaway, nobody wants this.
Yeah, no one. What I could have done without is the Rams in SoFi. What they did is they restricted selling tickets to only residents of Southern California, because 49ers fans have been known to invade SoFi, invade LA for big games.
Yeah.
But still, with that restriction, they had to lift 44% of the ticket buyers are from Northern California. So the split was 56% Southern California, 44 Northern California. So I'd imagine you'll see a sea of red regardless of the situation. And also, know what I thought about, Brett, that's unbelievable? So SoFi themselves, the company, paid for the naming rights of SoFi Stadium for, $800 million, whatever the number was.
A big number.
They still owe the Rams and the NFL $620 million. But isn't it all worth it these next 2 weeks? 2 straight games. You get the
That's
NFC Championship in SoFi. You get the Super Bowl in SoFi in all likelihood. I mean, it paid for itself.
College national championship game coming soon there, Final Four coming soon there. Yeah, this is what you pay for. And it is architecturally a marvel to see. Could have done without James Harden unhappy in Brooklyn. Of course he is. Too funny seeing Brooklyn not able to win it all. And then when the cap fallout hits this team, they're going to be about a 15-win team. And so funny to see, for today, J.B. Bickerstaff in Cleveland actually ahead of them in the standings.
I don't know. I mean, they may be – that Cleveland team's talented. Darius Garland's consistent.
So. Talented and young.
Very similar
They have a lot going for them. I mean, the Nets, unless they get healthy, it's going to be hard to pass. Cavs are a good team.
Set shots.
And guess what? He's off the bench. Chetty Osman off the bench. And Chetty Osman, I know people are going to laugh because it's Chetty Osman, but he can score. He can fill it up.
It is Chetty Osman.
But also, James Harden, I mentioned this very briefly when we were talking to Keith Smith earlier. That starting lineup he had against the Lakers, I would be so pissed if I were him.
I bet he didn't know
I came here to play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Instead, I get Patty Mills, DeAndre Bembry, Kessler Edwards, and Day'Ron Sharpe. What? This is garbage. Why am
Kessler
I here?
Edwards.
Kessler Edwards.
Player right there.
There we go. And he actually has been okay.
No, yeah, he played well.
He's played well, but it's Kessler Edwards.
Yeah, that's true.
Young guy. I don't know how much he'll do in the NBA when it's all said and done. What we're looking forward to tonight, Tigers have to get
turnovers and free throw shooting.
That's what it always comes down to. And a guy on the offensive end who can settle them down. Alex Lomax did it last game. Can he do it again? Can he have a repeat performance? In his career, we've seen he doesn't necessarily have repeat performances of stringing good games together in a row, but hopefully he can do it tonight.
Lots of Pac-12 action. They've got a lot of games to make up for all their misses from Omicron. Also, Lakers in Philly early on TNT, T-Wolves at Dubs late, but we're waiting on that all-star verdict, aren't we?
Yes, that's what we're looking at. I mean, he's got to be the starter, right?
Gotta be.
Because I'm thinking about this. If you're talking about media members, they see what the Grizzlies are doing. NBA media members know what the Grizzlies are doing.
And a fresh
They're
story.
no surprise. And you see Ja Morant as the lead of a 33-17 Grizzlies team. You got to give him credit for that. And players, there's nobody who knows Ja Morant more than the players. It was going to come down to the fan vote. It was going to come down to the fan vote. He was second. I would imagine that sort of puts him over the top when it comes to
how many all-star jerseys will they sell out of the Grizzlies merchandising, out of the team store? A bunch.
Yeah. They've already sold a bunch.
I actually hate the
And here's the
all-star
other thing
jerseys
about
this year.
Ja Morant,
They're
too.
horrible.
Ja Morant is not just in this market. This is a national thing now.
Oh, yeah.
People love Ja Morant.
Gravitating
because
to
he's the new one. He's fun.
Young.
Flashy.
He sort of embraced the culture, too, here in Memphis
Oh,
more than anybody.
yeah.
I mean, he has done a good job of embracing.
Well, when you have a guy like Moneybag leading you through the culture of Memphis, it's very easy.
How lucky was that day dodging this Zion disaster?
Well, you never know. If he was with a good franchise like the Grizzlies, maybe he'd be in a better spot right now. But that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Greg Gaston, Keith Smith, and Todd Lebo for their contributions to the show. For Brett, for Bryant, for Jay, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night. We'll holler at you tomorrow at 3.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with